When Adrian and I walked into the Grand, we accidentally bumped into my husband Sebastian on a date with his girlfriend. All I could do was nod at him, but the man who's always been cold and unfeeling charged over like a lunatic and started interrogating me. Today marked 6 months since Adrian and I got together, and he insisted on taking me out to celebrate. After a happy dinner, we were heading up to the hotel above Meridian for what we hoped would be a perfect night when we spotted Sebastian and Chloe. They had their arms hooked, kissing in the middle of the mall as if the world belonged to them. I laughed out loud at the scene. Look at my iceberg of a husband actually kissing someone in public. Probably because too many shoppers were staring, Chloe tapped Sebastian's shoulder in embarrassment and stopped him from going in for another kiss. Unfortunately, the instant Sebastian looked up he caught Adrian and me rubbernecking. I simply smiled, nodded, and tugged Adrian away. But the moment he saw me, Sebastian's face darkened. He dragged Chloe over and blocked our path. Then, glaring at Adrian, he snapped, "Lillian, who is he? What's going on between you two? Why are you even here?" Adrian stepped in front of me protectively. That small gesture only enraged Sebastian further. "Lillian, you're still married. Stop pawing random men." I let out a soft laugh. "Sebastian, whatever relationship you have with that lady is exactly the one I have with him. And last I checked, you're married too, so don't play favorites." His fury wavered. He let go of Chloe's hand. "It's not what you think, Lillian." I raised an eyebrow. "Oh, so our Morgan here kisses strangers in full view just for sport? Give it up, Sebastian. Lie to yourself all you want, just don't expect me to buy it," I said sweetly. "Besides, we're drawing a crowd. Shouldn't you console your tearful little girlfriend?" Only then did he notice the ring of onlookers our spat had attracted. Chloe was already sniffling. "Morgan, you can't want the 4 of us splashed across the gossip blogs tomorrow. And my cute boyfriend and I have a date to finish." I lifted my linked hand with Adrian and beamed. Sebastian's face was storm cloud black. "Fine, Lillian. We'll finish this at home, just wait." He pulled the weeping Chloe away. Once they were gone, the spectators drifted off. Adrian stared at me, tense. I patted his hand. "Relax. Some things are better out in the open, I've been ready for ages." He exhaled, then glanced after Sebastian with disdain. "Your taste used to be awful. Letting a guy like that hurt you." I hugged him. "Yeah, when I was little I couldn't see people clearly." I brushed a fingertip across his lower lip. "Only shame is I'd planned for you to keep me company tonight. Cheer me up." "It's okay, we still have Alice," he said, blushing furiously as he pulled me along. "Actually, I owe my meeting Adrian to my dear husband." One day I accompanied Sebastian to a Hudson University donor ceremony. Chloe called, he left early, and I was left juggling the school's headaches alone. By the time I finished, night had fallen and rain was pelting down. Without an umbrella, I stood drenched on the curb. Adrian appeared beside me, rain-damp but bright with youthful energy, shoved his umbrella into my hand, and sprinted off. Maybe that simple joy infected my long-dead heart. We met again, grew close, fell in love, each step echoing the path I'd walked with Sebastian. At first it might have been revenge, a fling, who knows? But I love the way Adrian blushes and fumbles when he kisses me. After a gloriously reckless stretch with Adrian, I dragged my exhausted, satisfied body home, and found Sebastian sprawled on the sofa, thunder brewing on his face. "Why aren't you with your little girlfriend?" I taunted. At last he turned to me, deadly serious. "Lillian, how long has this been going on?" I stepped closer, looking down at him. "A year and a half after you and Chloe got together." I held his gaze and smiled. "The night I ran a fever and you stayed with her, I gave up on you, Sebastian." I smoothed his hair the way I used to. He frowned, drew a long breath. "I didn't know you were sick, Lillian." "Of course you didn't." I called. You were in her shower when she answered. That same night Adrian trekked across town with medicine and stayed to nurse me, so I said yes when he asked me to be his. "But Lillian, you know those girls meant nothing." "You're the only one I love," he said, arms circling my waist. I looked at Sebastian kneeling in front of me, begging, just like the 18-year-old boy who once wrapped his arms around my waist and swore he would love me forever. But it turned out he'd never promised to love only me. So the happier we'd been, the deeper my hatred now. I still couldn't believe that the man who once vowed to take care of me forever had become the person standing before me. I stared at Sebastian and realized he was no longer the boy I had known. Lillian, I was wrong. Don't be angry. I'll pretend I never saw you with him. Break up with him right now, okay? Let's get back together. Please, no, Sebastian. I lifted his chin and looked straight into his eyes. No, Sebastian, let's get divorced. I finally said the words smoothly. That single short sentence cost me half a lifetime of strength. Watching the scene fall apart, my mind kept drifting back to when Sebastian and I still loved each other. Back then we were childhood sweethearts from wealthy families, and he was endlessly gentle with me, attentive to every detail. He was so afraid someone would steal me away that he promised me the rest of his life early on. Everyone envied our love, and that perfect wedding was a declaration praised for a century. Casey, I said yes. I married him young, my heart full of bright visions of the future we would share. Yet only 3 years into marriage he began chasing every skirt in sight, keeping mistresses of every type, and Chloe lasted the longest. At first I would hysterically demand, "Why are you doing this to me?" And he would only hug me and say, "In our world, loyalty is the dumbest virtue, those women are just playthings." He treated his cheating like a game, and I was the NPC, while my pain and sorrow meant nothing to him. But how could Sebastian know that every time he faced Chloe he indulged her without limit, the way he once treated me? He also couldn't know that when I was overjoyed to tell him I was pregnant, I saw him kissing Chloe. Once he had given his heart to someone else yet still used love to lie to me. This relationship should have ended long ago. So the moment I finished saying divorce, my entire body relaxed, everything that had tormented me was cast aside. Sebastian, hearing me, looked lost, even incredulous. "Lillian, what did you say?" I said, "Let's divorce, Sebastian." I stayed calm. "No. Lillian, what right do you have to divorce me?" "Without me, what do you have?" he shouted. I answered, coldly sarcastic, "Sebastian, without you I'm still a Vance, and at the very least I still have money." I turned away. "Besides, those little girls of yours can't wait for me to step aside." "Why wouldn't I do them the favor? I told you they're just playthings." "I'll cut them off." He clutched my hand in pain. "Lillian, I really know I was wrong. I just strayed for a moment. It won't happen again. Forgive me one more time, please?" "Sebastian, I've already forgiven you too many times. I'm truly tired." I shook my head. "And I don't love you anymore." I pulled my hand free. He grew even more frantic. "Is it that guy from today? Lillian, have you fallen for him? He has nothing, and you still like him, are you crazy? So what? I'm rich, I can keep him the way you kept those girls." I shrugged. At that Sebastian smashed everything within reach and asked with bloodshot eyes, "Why, Lillian? I thought you'd love me forever. I thought you'd stay with me forever." I really was wrong. He softened his tone and moved closer. "Right, we can have a baby, don't you love children?" He looked at me ingratiatingly. "A baby?" "Yes, once we had a baby, but the child who never saw the world was destroyed by the very man in front of me." Looking at his madness, I no longer felt pain, but the secret of our baby should torment him the way it tormented me. "Casey," I stared at him. "Sebastian, did you know we once had a baby?" My eyes held only iciness. "Remember when Chloe had that car accident and you stayed at the hospital with her for days?" Sebastian gazed at me, something dawning in his eyes, his pupils shrinking in disbelief. I called, wanting to share the good news, but inside the hospital I saw you being affectionate with Chloe, protecting her, worried about her. You even told the staff you were her boyfriend. Do you remember?" He looked as though he couldn't accept what he was hearing. "So I terminated the pregnancy. I didn't want our child born into a loveless home. I wouldn't keep clinging to you, Sebastian, therefore, divorce." I spoke with absolute certainty. "You were the first to change, the first to abandon me, so now I abandon you." In the end Sebastian left only the words "I won't agree to a divorce" and stormed out, slamming the door, probably off to meet some little lover again, though that was no longer my concern. I washed my face and fell asleep exhausted. Early the next morning I returned to Vance. These days Victoria managed every Vance enterprise. When she heard I wanted a divorce, she simply stroked my head with affection and asked, "Are you sure? After so many years, you truly don't love Sebastian anymore?" I shook my head. The moment he cheated on me again and again, I stopped wanting to love him. At that, my sister hugged me tightly and whispered, "Sweet Lillian, you've been wronged. If you want a divorce, get it. I'll take care of you from now on." I hugged her back, my heart full and steady, because I now had a solid shield behind me. But ever since the day I asked for a divorce, Sebastian seemed to turn into a different person. He began texting me good morning and good night every single day, flooding me with memories of our love story, and flowers and gifts arrived at my door like clockwork. After I received 3 different bouquets in as many days, I finally called him. "Sebastian, have you lost your mind? If you've got this much time and energy, go play with your mistress, why harass me?" His voice shook through the phone. "Lillian, are we really this estranged? I still love you," I snorted. "You love me so much you kiss your side chick in public, so much you can't go 2 days without fooling around with someone else? Wow, Sebastian, that's some epic love. Fine, I'm done talking. My lawyer will handle the rest." I hung up immediately. I had nothing more to say to a lunatic. So I enjoyed several calm days. The divorce papers were drafted, all that remained were our signatures. What I hadn't expected was that, once Sebastian stopped harassing me, Chloe showed up instead. She sprang out while I was dining alone, blocking my path. "Riley, can we talk?" I gave a dry laugh. "Sorry, I'm not in the mood to chat with the other woman." I turned to leave. She grabbed my arm, voice hoarse. "Please, can you get Sebastian to call me? It's urgent." I stared at her, exasperated. "Taylor, if you can't reach Sebastian, what makes you think I can?" Her eyes shimmered with tears. "Riley, of course you can. He dumped me because of you. Please, give him back to me. I really love him, please." The scene was so absurd I almost laughed aloud. A mistress begging the wife to return her lover. Was there no justice left in this world? I yanked my arm free and sneered, "This isn't my problem. And we're about to divorce, congratulations, you've won." Then everything tilted. Chloe pitched forward as if shoved, sprawling across the floor. At that exact moment Sebastian walked into the restaurant, taking in Chloe on the ground and me standing dumbstruck. I wondered, am I really strong enough to topple a grown woman? Spotting him, Chloe scrambled up, limped to his side, and whimpered, "I fell by myself, it's not Lillian's fault." Instantly the air reeked of green tea. Chloe cradled her belly, tears slipping out. "I'm okay. I just hope the baby's okay." Sebastian and I froze. Regaining my composure first, I burst into applause. "Congratulations, boss, may your heir arrive safe and sound. I'll have the divorce papers delivered, don't forget to sign." Sebastian's face darkened. He seized my wrist. "Lillian, I don't want a divorce. I'll handle this. Only you can be boss." Chloe's face drained of color. She wailed, "Sebastian, you're rejecting our child? I've been with you so long." She beat his shoulder lightly and collapsed against his chest, sobbing. Repulsed, I looked away and chuckled. "Sign fast, Sebastian. Once that baby's born I can slap you with bigamy, your losses will be far worse." I spun on my heel and left the melodrama behind. Cornered by Chloe's pregnancy and my threat, Sebastian finally signed. He still begged me to stay at every turn, and I shot him down every time. On divorce certificate day his complexion was ghastly, but he slipped me assets the papers hadn't mentioned. I accepted them with a smile. "I thought we'd last forever," he murmured, eyes tender and wistful. "I thought so too. But forever is a long road, goodbye, Sebastian." I walked away without looking back, just as resolute as the day I'd joyfully accepted his proposal. Our journey ended there. Post-divorce, I traveled alone. My younger boyfriend Adrian would fly in wherever I was, and we'd savor our time together. I was deliriously happy. I could spend entire days makeup-free in hotel rooms, laugh loudly on busy streets, and answer to no one. I was as carefree as before marriage. Had I known how liberating divorce would feel, I'd have done it years earlier. Perhaps only after all that turbulence could I taste such contentment. You must carve away the rot before new flesh can grow, only then can you be reborn. 1 year later, I boarded the first flight home because the family company needed me, more or less ending my gap year wanderings. Back in Riverdale, I picked up exactly where I'd left off, late-night table hopping with my partners in mischief. And along the way I absorbed every scrap of gossip about Sebastian. Word was, he was a wreck. The cheating scandal had cratered his parents' faith in him, and the Voss Bant's joint ventures had hemorrhaged money the moment our divorce hit the blogs. On top of that, Eleanor loathed Chloe, so the two of them still weren't married and the baby had never been presented as a boss heir, which made sense. In our world, bloodlines matter, but balance sheets matter more. Chloe brought nothing to the table except an infant, and homewrecker isn't a title any trust fund board wants on the masthead. Then, a couple of weeks ago, the story of the year broke. My best friend relayed it with the glee of a TMZ headline writer. The baby had a minor emergency and needed a blood transfusion. One quick type and cross later, the doctors discovered the kid's blood didn't match either parent. Sebastian demanded a paternity test on the spot. The results came back negative. Turns out, while Sebastian was bankrolling Chloe's penthouse, she was quietly keeping another boyfriend on the side. The baby belonged to that guy. Sebastian booted both of them the same night. Chloe's golden ticket fantasy evaporated, and the hashtags mocking him trended for days. Funny how cheaters always find someone to cheat on them in return. Not long after that, Sebastian, God knows from which group chat snitch, heard I was back and started texting for old time's sake. I ghosted every message, so he played his trump card, Eleanor. We'd filed the divorce papers without telling his parents. They only found out after the ink was dry, and Eleanor had been furious with her son ever since. She and my mom have been best friends since boarding school, and she'd practically helped raise me, so when she asked me to tea, I couldn't say no. I parked at the Voss mansion gate and had barely killed the engine when Sebastian materialized, yanking open my passenger door before I could lock it. Once he was wedged into the seat, I sat frozen, then said, voice flat, "Boss, kindly get the hell out of my car. We're nothing to each other now." His face caved. "Lillian, we grew up together. And I cut him off, revulsion crawling over my skin. "Don't you dare say you still love me. If you loved me so much, why did you need a side piece? You're disgusting, Sebastian, last warning. Out, or I'll leave this car here and Uber the rest of the way." Only then did he slink out, slamming the door like a scolded teenager. I drove the final 100 yards, Sebastian's Jag tailgating me the whole time. We pasted on diplomatic smiles for the staff and headed for the family wing. Eleanor met us on the marble steps, clasping both my hands. "Ever since the divorce I've missed you, sweetheart. You look even more radiant." "Please, Cameron, I'm the same as always. You, on the other hand, look younger every season." Her smile faltered. "Cameron, not mom anymore. You used to call me mom." She stroked my cheek. "Tell me, do you have someone new?" To shut down any reconciliation sales pitch, I nodded. "Yes, Cameron. I'm seeing someone." Sebastian barked a laugh. "A college kid. Let's see how long that lasts." I rolled my eyes. "Your mistress was younger than you, so maybe don't throw stones." Eleanor lifted a manicured hand. "Enough." I invited Lillian hoping Cupid might strike twice, but I can see the arrows are broken. "Let's not ruin lunch." Sebastian opened his mouth, caught her glare, and stalked off toward the whiskey decanter. When he was gone, Eleanor squeezed my fingers. "You're truly done?" "I'm truly done. Too much happened. There's no road back." She sighed, then folded me into the same lavender-scented hug I'd known since childhood. "Then I won't push. But you must visit. You'll always be my Lillian." "I will, Cameron." I stayed for lunch, declined the tour of redecorated wings, and headed out. Sebastian caught me at the porte-cochere, insisting on driving me home. To spare Eleanor another scene, I tossed him the keys. We rode in silence. When he rolled to a stop at my front gate, he finally spoke. "So that's it? No chance at all?" I stared straight ahead. "Anyone on earth can ask that question, Sebastian, except you. You burned every bridge for Chloe. You don't get to wonder why the ashes won't hold your weight." His shoulders shook, tears slid to the collar of his custom shirt. "Let this be the last time we share a car, a sentence, or a heartbeat." I stepped out without looking back. Adrian was leaning against the iron gates, earbuds in, backpack slung over one shoulder, haloed by the porch light. Sebastian's voice cracked behind me. "But he's allowed to try? He gets to stay?" "For now," I called, walking straight into Adrian's open arms. Ever since that day, I hadn't laid eyes on Sebastian once, but I still drove to the Voss mansion to visit Eleanor as often as I could. That afternoon, after another routine visit, I walked to my car, keys dangling from my fingers. Danger struck in the space of a heartbeat. Someone shoved me from behind and I slammed onto the cold cement. I jerked my head up, stunned, and saw blood spreading across the driveway. Behind me, screams erupted like sirens. The man I used to consider a thorn in my side lay in a crimson pool, his white shirt blooming red at the chest. Chloe, the assailant, wasn't finished. She snatched the knife again and lunged toward me. "It's your fault and Sebastian's. My baby died because of you," she shrieked. Boss security finally thundered around the corner, tackled her, and pinned her down. "Sebastian, are you hurt bad? Stay with me." I scrambled to his side. Blood kept seeping through his fingers, panic swallowed my breath and my hands shook uncontrollably. "I'm okay, really. As long as you're safe," he whispered, eyelids fluttering before he passed out. "Sebastian. Sebastian, wake up." My voice cracked, useless and small. Eleanor rushed from the house at the commotion and ordered a car. We raced to the hospital. The blade had missed every major organ and artery, but he still needed emergency surgery. I waited with Eleanor outside the OR for 2 hours. Morgan arrived halfway through, face ashen. I kept squeezing Eleanor's hand, croaking, "He'll be fine," over and over, more to convince myself than her. When the surgeon announced success, we both exhaled like swimmers breaking the surface. Eleanor patted my knuckles. "See, Lillian? He's all right. Don't carry this. He owed you far more." I could only nod, words knotted in my throat. A full day later Sebastian finally surfaced from the anesthesia. I brought vitamins, collagen broth, and a ridiculous balloon. His face lit up when he saw me, then blanched at the effort. "I thought you'd stay away," he rasped, eyes bright with fever. I set the gifts on the tray table and laughed softly. "Do I look that heartless? You took a knife for me." He blinked, swallowed. "Then forgive me. Can we start over?" I shook my head. "I can forgive the cheating, Sebastian, but I don't love you anymore." I held his gaze, gentle but final. "Getting back together out of gratitude would cheat us both." "All right, Lillian. I truly wish you the best." "Same to you," I answered, squeezing his hand once, like signing a quiet treaty. We had circled back at last, able to bless instead of bruise. Chloe's story ended in a cell. After Sebastian threw her out, she'd dragged her baby to the biological father, some barfly who locked the door when money for booze ran low. He beat her when drunk, pimped her when broke. She came home one night to find the fevered infant already cold. She poisoned him first, then waited at the boss gate with a knife, determined the whole family would pay. Seeing me step outside ignited her. Sebastian stepped between us and took the blade meant for me. The Voss lawyers will make sure she never breathes free air again. Weeks later I booked another flight, passport still warm from the last stamp. We said goodbye on the elm-lined walk behind our old high school, the route we used to race after final bell. We bantered like juniors, arguing over who remembered the algebra teacher's wig wrong. At the fork where our paths always split, we stopped. "I'll leave you here, Lillian. Safe travels," he said, tipping his head to the October sky. "Goodbye," I answered, smiling as I walked away, this time certain there would be no reruns. I was bidding farewell to him, and to every bright, reckless minute we thought was forever. When you're young you love like a match, strike once, blaze fast, believe it will never burn out. Then time teaches you, life moves on, devotion starts with yourself, and the world is wider than one pair of arms. May the road ahead belong to me alone, may it taste of open skies. Thank you for listening. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate this story? If it spoke to you, please like and share, and drop your thoughts below. Don't forget to subscribe for more. See you next tale. Casey, the marital assets you and your husband hold have already been notarized. If solid proof of his affair can be produced, you'll receive roughly 20% more in the division. Photos or video would strengthen the case even further. Backstage at the banquet hall, Serena stood in a corner, watching her husband on stage with his lifelong in a joint performance. Over the music she answered the phone, "None of that will be a problem. Once the evidence is compiled, I don't need to be here anymore, right?" "Of course. Rest easy, the divorce litigation package you purchased is active. The moment you submit the evidence and the signed agreement, you're free to leave. During the contract period we will hide every trace of you, no one will find you." "Good." She hung up and looked back at the stage. Julian sat at the piano, voice warm with laughter. Thank you, dear friends, for being here tonight. This piece, Meeting by the Mountain, is for the love of my life, my lifelong, Brielle. My thanks for her constant companionship. The woman beside him blushed, eyes shining. Julian lavished every ounce of adoration on Brielle, an intensity Serena had never once received. She stood alone in the wings while her husband declared to the girl who had tormented her, Brielle, I love you. The bully's eyes grew red. I love you, too. They gazed at each other, lost in tenderness, stepped together, and shared a deep kiss. Applause thundered, celebrating the perfect couple. Serena watched the girl in Julian's arms, her stare ice-cold with anguish and loathing. Brielle had spent 3 years doing Dylan to her. Whenever she was in a foul mood, she trapped orphan Serena in the restroom, dousing her with filthy water. The cold, rank liquid soaked her, biting to the bone. The school, wary of the Shaw family's power, looked away. Serena endured in silence, and Brielle escalated. She stripped her, locked her in the storage shed, and paid a vagrant to sexually assault her. Helpless terror, she still saw the vagrant's sick, greedy eyes. She'd resolved to kill herself afterward. Then Julian burst in and rescued her, light in a pit of darkness. So 3 years ago, when Julian pursued her, she accepted in stunned joy. Their wedding was a lavish spectacle. He'd wanted the world to know he'd married her. Now the man she'd loved most and the girl she hated most kissed before everyone, and the anniversary piece she'd thought was theirs was Brielle's all along. Serena's breath stopped. She had never doubted Julian's love. The pampered heir who'd never lifted a finger had learned therapeutic recipes for her period pain, poring over herbal tonics to ease her. Yet a week ago Brielle sent a naked photo of herself with Julian, crowing, Serena, you're only my stand-in. Now the reel is back, so move. Serena hadn't wanted to believe, but Brielle kept the screenshots and voice notes coming. In one recording Julian sneered, Serena? A plaything. You're the one I love. If you'd never left, she wouldn't exist. That sentence shattered her fairy tale marriage. She'd thought they'd grow old together, yet he lay with the girl who'd tortured her and even staged Brielle's private wedding. Every guest had called her sister 3 days before, now they toasted the new bride behind her back. The pain numbed her. A noise backstage made her slip into the shadows. 2 assistants approached. With Julian doing this, what about Serena? Back then he only married the gold digger to spite Brielle. The divorce papers have been ready forever, time to use them, and now our Brielle is carrying his kid, finally a happy ending. Speaking of which, that gold digger actually thought she'd have his baby? Dream on. Julian's no fool, he's been feeding her contraceptives. The idiot thought they were supplements. They lowered their voices. She still got pregnant once, but Julian drugged it away. Only Brielle carries the sterling air, some stand-in can't compare. Their Snickers cut like glass. Serena stood blank, her heart numb. When they left she staggered out, dizzy, fingers tingling. So there had been a child, and they were having another. Everyone knew except her. She left the hall in tears. Outside, rain poured, she walked, soaked and limp, chest aching with every step, yet her resolve hardened. She would not play the fool in their love story, she would leave. The downpour soaked her home, fever burned. At 2 the next afternoon she remembered the divorce papers. In the study a single sheet slipped from a folder, the agreement, Julian's signature already placed beneath their wedding date. Ice crawled under her skin. He'd plotted divorce on their wedding day, 3 years of devotion were performance. Staring at the fluid name, she laughed bitterly. She'd fretted how to make him sign, turned out he'd beaten her to it. Only she had been truly invested. Footsteps sounded. She shoved the papers into a drawer and rose. Julian, in an apron, carried a bowl of congee. Seeing her red eyes, he fussed, who made my Serena cry? You did, she answered silently, but said, bad dream. I dreamed you cheated. He froze a beat. Fever talking, I could never. Drink while it's hot. I finally got you healthy, no more scares. She stared. Then can I ask you for a baby? Julian paused. Later, okay? Too busy now, bad timing. Her heart mocked, bad timing, or wrong woman? The accidental miscarriage, pills she'd thought were prenatal flashed back, he'd called them miscarriage drugs. no future, no burden. Then he said, "Mother wants us for dinner tonight." She bowed. "All right." Her quick agreement startled him. She usually avoided the manner. He swallowed the unease, convinced himself he was overthinking. After breakfast they drove over. At the door his mother drawled, "Little, I hear you're sick again? Julian's nursed you forever. Maybe you don't suit our family. How can you give us heirs?" Julian blocked Serena with a frown. "Enough." His mother kept scanning Serena with open dislike. 3 years, no babies, who knows why? If we'd married Brielle instead. "Mother!" Julian barked. Her eyes reddened. "I speak truth. An orphan with no connections, barren to boot, useless." Brielle, Sterling strode in. "That's enough. Eat." Then to Serena, "But do hurry, childless at your age?" Julian squeezed her hand. "Soon, right, Serena?" She murmured, eyes down, pain threatening to spill. "Soon, like last time's fake pregnancy scare," his mother sneered. "Learn from Brielle, she pops out twins abroad." Julian's voice dropped, deadly. "I told you, never mention her. I love only Serena, only death parts us." His vehemence startled them into silence. His mother muttered, "The future is long." "Yes," Serena thought bitterly, "it is." After the tense meal, Julian leapt up, phone in hand. "Gotta go, stage problems need me." His mother protested the late hour, he waved it off. At the porte cochere she whispered, "Think, Brielle's divorced now, and you once loved her, Mother." Outside the car he coaxed, "Ignore her, she's senile. Next time we stay home." Serena merely nodded, the flatness unsettled him. "Nothing to ask about Brielle?" "No, really?" Twisting, she said, "It's over, unless you still care." He rubbed his nose. "I'm worried you'd misunderstand." His phone erupted. He rejected a call, then answered the second. "I'm coming." He glanced at her. "I'll drop you." "No, it's dark and unsafe here." She caught the flash of eagerness and felt the last ember of hope die. "The city isn't far. Go ahead." He hesitated, then, "I'll send Junior. Wait under that streetlight, don't move." The car sped off, tail lights vanishing. Night wind on the deserted road chilled her. Why test what she already knew? Her phone buzzed, an unknown number. "Serena, see? I crook a finger and he dumps you. How dare you steal my man, remember the 3-year nightmare?" Her pulse spikes, the past clawed back. 10 minutes, no driver. Uneasy, she dialed, then headlights. 3 drunk thugs lumbered toward her. Run. On stilettos she couldn't. She kicked them off, hurled one, struck a brute. They laughed, sassy, "I like that. Don't kill her, client wants her taught a lesson, not a corpse." Grimy hands reached, she kept calling Julian, ring, voicemail. Finally connected, only to hear a woman pant, "Slow down," and the line die. She laughed hollowly, dead inside. Headlights and a female shout made the thugs turn. 2 huge dogs lunged, snarling, their young walker glared. Minutes later sirens screamed, officers cuffed the trio. At the station the men stuck to drunk and horny, no hired job. With no proof, cops could only hold them. A female officer offered Serena and the girl hot water. "We'll dig deeper, you're safe." The traveler asked why she'd been abandoned roadside. Serena rasped, "My husband had an emergency, I let him go." The girl rolled her eyes. What emergency beats one's wife? They chatted, Serena learned the girl roamed in a camper. "Life is open road," she grinned, producing a camera. "Still learning photography." Watching the landscapes, Serena felt a pang of envy. Police released them, outside, fireworks bloomed. The girl asked for a photo, Serena obliged. "You're a pro," she exclaimed. "I used to be," Serena murmured. Another buzz, Julian embracing Brielle, shirt half off, biting her neck beneath the same fireworks. "Remember Julian's 3-year vow of fireworks for you? They're blooming for me now, like my gift?" Serena's heart lurched, tonight's ambush was Brielle's revenge. A sudden clarity, from high school to the altar she had been surplus, a toy in their games. She saved the messages, forwarded them to Zachary, hailed a cab. The sky still sparkled, but she had no wish to watch. She phoned the law firm. Agreement signed, evidence coming, sufficient? We'll review. A quick shower, then bed. Next morning, congee aroma filled the kitchen. Julian, casual, sunny, flipped pancakes. Wash up, breakfast. Life on repeat, as if the terror were imagined. Rage simmered. She wanted to scream, "Where were you last night? Why no ride? Do you know what Brielle did?" Instead, Julian spoke first. "You didn't text you were home, I was terrified. After work I rang Junior, he said he'd dropped you. Next time tell me, okay?" Serena studied his worried eyes, they looked real. "I called you. I rang more than a dozen times. You didn't pick up." Startled, Julian flipped his phone open, only to find not a single chat thread. Then he remembered Brielle fiddling with the handset earlier. Realizing that, he cleared his throat and forced a laugh. Must be a glitch. My bad. I'll swap it tomorrow. Anyway, you're okay, that's what matters. Serena watched the guilt play across his face and found it hilarious. She didn't bother to interrogate him. What was the point? Would he ever condemn his lifelong for her sake? Let's eat. Sure. They picked at their meal in silence, each nursing private thoughts. Mid-bite, Julian's phone rang. He seized the call like a lifeline, spoke a few words, then told her, "Something's come up at the studio. Finish your food, I'll be right back." With that he snatched his jacket and hurried out. Serena hadn't managed a single word. When the door clicked shut, the chopstick stalled in her hand, the dishes in front of her lost all appeal. Her own phone buzzed. On the line was her best friend's panicked voice. "Serena. That shameless witch grabbed your painting and is suing you for plagiarism." Stupefied, Serena tapped the link Maya hurled at her, a short video. On-screen Brielle wept buckets, claiming Serena had stolen her work contemplation. She produced a tidy timestamped timeline and sobbed that she had painted it while Julian was ill, begging Casey to drop the knockoff hanging in the gallery. Serena stared at the disputed painting, the last canvas Mother Superior ever touched. While the hospice monitors flatlined, the elderly nun had forced a smile and urged Serena to paint so you'll have something to remember me by. Now Brielle was weaponizing that memory? Hands shaking, Serena kept watching. At the end Brielle lifted the canvas, eyes crimson. "Julian and I grew up together, we're soulmates. Even if Casey barged into our relationship, please don't stoop to theft." The comment sewer promptly overflowed, thought she was just a copycat, turns out she's also the mistress. Disgusting. Plagiarist should die in a ditch. Serena, get out here and explain. How dare she rip off Brielle? Does she even know her place? Serena exited the app and dialed Julian. Back when memories tied to the painting shredded her, Julian had suggested donating it to the charity gallery opened by another of the orphanage's alumni. The director, sworn to keep it off public view, had promised anonymity. Only Julian had accompanied her that day. Nobody else even knew the canvas existed. After 3 attempts he finally answered. "What is it?" His voice was husky, tender yet impatient. "The painting," explained the one online. Julian grunted. "Don't panic. I'll explain when I get back." Serena's brows knitted, suddenly her face drained of color. Through the receiver drifted soft panting and the faint moan of a woman. "I'm busy, wife, gotta go." Just before the line cut she heard him murmur, "Stop clenching. Relax." Then nothing but dial tone. Serena stood frozen, her stomach clenched. She clamped a hand over her mouth and bolted to the bathroom, heaving again and again. Disgusting, utterly disgusting. 5 minutes later she sat on the bathroom floor, eyes unfocused. How had she ever loved such a man? Where was the boy who had once dragged her from that storage shed? A bitter laugh escaped her. Maybe that boy had never existed, maybe she'd merely gilded a gutter. When her pulse leveled, she rang the gallery director, transferred every source file and copyright document. The woman answered instantly. "That painting is under our guardianship, the culprit won't walk away." "Are you all right? What did your husband say?" Calmly Serena replied, "He told me to wait." The director snorted. "Wait for what? While the internet roasts you alive?" Silence. Yes, a delayed response would be fatal. Reputation aside, an artist branded a plagiarist never digs out. Julian knew that. He simply didn't care. To him she was a stand-in. Why would he bother protecting her while he was busy with the real thing? Hell, the painting might even be a twisted gift he'd given Brielle for sport. Let's move now, the director said. Stay cool, don't do anything reckless. I won't. I'm taking a trip. Smart, breathe different air. We'll be done before you're back. Serena booked a flight to Dolly, located her pre-printed divorce petition in the study, signed, sealed it, and stuffed the folder into her bag. The doorbell rang just then. The corridor was stacked with parcels. Madam, Sterling sent flowers and gifts. She gave the bouquet a cursory glance. Dump them wherever, thanks. Upstairs she finished stuffing clothes into her suitcase. 5 hours until Zachary's arrival. Her phone buzzed again. Brielle. A string of photos, every trinket Julian had ever given her, duplicated on Brielle's vanity. Look familiar? Julian handed you my hand-me-downs. Whenever he peeled these clothes off you, whose face do you think he pictured? Tomorrow is your anniversary, also my birthday. Guess whose bed he'll warm? Gotta go, he's asking for round 2. Serena felt nothing, only a faint urge to tell the woman to seek therapy. Instead she archived every message and forwarded the bundle to Zachary, then gathered the last of her things. In the foyer the housekeeper asked, heading out, Madam? Yes. Don't prepare dinner, we're eating out for our anniversary. The housekeeper winked. Romantic. Happy celebrating. Celebrating indeed. Outside, Zachary's car idled at the curb. Meanwhile Julian lounged in a hotel suite. Leo, did she accept the gifts? Leo hesitated. She took them. Relieved, Julian hung up, convinced forgiveness came wrapped in tissue paper. He planned tomorrow's surprise, a grand romantic gesture that would make her beam. Yet a nameless dread pricked him, probably that damned painting. He'd been drunk, Brielle had purred, and he'd caved. He'd apologize, she'd understand, and maybe they'd start trying for a baby. Brielle emerged wrapped in steam. Shower with me? He swallowed, nodded, followed. At the same moment Serena couriered every document to Zachary's office and boarded the Silver Bird. High above the clouds the sky was an overturned bowl of salt-bright stars. Goodbye, Julian, she whispered. May we never meet again. Down in Dolly she checked into a waterside inn, threw open the balcony, and breathed air rinsed in snowmelt and pine. A knock sounded. Maya barreled in, teary. Why didn't you tell me sooner? The scumbag. Serena patted the sobbing tornado. Confidentiality wins wars. I'll catch him off guard. When Maya finally sniffled to a stop she asked, so you've known? 3 months, Serena said, voice thin. She had meant to surprise Julian at rehearsal. Instead she'd seen him lock lips with Brielle. Before she could barge in their mutual friends drifted by, joking. Took Sterling ages, but he finally tasted first love. Married the stand-in just to rile Brielle. Look, it worked. Serena? Nah, without Riverdale money nobody'd buy her stuff. The words had sliced deep, so she'd trashed the soup and run. They can mock the fairy tale, Serena told Maya, but never my work. Revenge was ticking. Tomorrow Zachary would walk in on the lovers. And afterwards? Travel, shoot, breathe. Life is a wide plain. One failed marriage is merely a pebble. Maya, reassured, collapsed beside her and slept. At daybreak in the Riverside Hotel Julian finally stirred. He studied Brielle's sleeping face, searching for the teenage dream he chased. He felt flat. What he actually wanted was Serena, the Serena who applauded his encores and wiped his tears. The realization hit like caffeine. He loved his wife. He'd keep the night with Brielle a secret, shower Serena with devotion, start the family he'd promised. Comforted, he drifted off again. A harsh pounding woke him. Room service? He mumbled, yanking on jeans. The door swung wide, a wall of suits marched in. Cameron burst, what the hell? Zachary presented a court paper. Sterling, we're here at your wife's request to document this scene. Mind posing for a photo with the lady? The flash popped. Julian lunged. Trespassing. This is my suite. Zachary's smile was ice. Your wife, Casey, signed the authorization. The court seal's genuine. Julian's hand shook as he read. Divorce? Impossible, Serena loves me, Zachary shrugged. Expect the asset division summons this afternoon. Enjoy your breakfast. They exited as briskly as they'd entered, leaving the room arctic. Julian wheeled on Brielle, hurling the document at her. Explain, Brielle calmed after a skim. Relax, you wanted rid of her anyway. Now you're free, and I'm carrying your child. Julian barked a laugh, stepped back in revulsion. My wife is Serena. I never planned divorce. You were just a detour, a high school itch. Who marries a woman everyone's had? Julian raked his fingers through his hair in agitation. She had appended every single plan he had. Brielle laughed in exasperation. Julian, listen to yourself. How many years have you been married? The moment I come back you're at my feet. And you call that just fooling around? Julian might as well have lapdog stamped on his forehead. She studied his creased brow, sighed inwardly, and softened her voice. I know, you can't bear to lose her. And I can't bear to lose you. Blame it all on me if you like. Men make mistakes, go coax her and everything will be fine. I don't know why Serena turned around and accused me of provoking her, but as long as you're happy, I don't care. She forced a brave smile and dabbed at her tears. It's just hard on the baby. But don't worry, I can raise a child on my own. It's not like I can't afford to. That stubborn look flung Julian back to the proud heiress she had once been. If this had happened 2 years earlier, he might have pitied her. Now he knew he loved Serena. The performance left him cold. He even chuckled grimly. Brielle, aren't you ashamed? Don't you know whose baby that really is? Years ago he had drugged Serena and forced an abortion. Afterward, to spare her any more suffering, he had himself sterilized. He could not possibly father a child. Brielle's face froze, her hand flew to her belly. Impossible. It's yours, the timing fits. Reading the guilt in her eyes, Julian's grin turned razor sharp. I had the snip long ago. So how did you get pregnant? Must have been hopping into some other man's bed this past month, you cheap whore. Exposed, Brielle dropped the act. Her tongue turned venomous. How dare you insult me? Think you're any better, Julian? You kept your eye on me and missed every anniversary with Serena. Don't you remember? If you hadn't kept seducing me, would I have divorced that tycoon? Blame yourself. You trample on women and still imagine you're decent? You're scum, pure and simple. Crack. Julian's palm connected with her cheek. He shook with rage. Brielle shrieked, you hit me. She lunged, raking his face until 3 bloody furrows bloomed. The sting snapped his last thread of control. He kicked her sprawling. He looked down at her writhing on the carpet and felt every last trace of love evaporate. His phone rang. Dad, get your ass home, now. But 30 minutes. If you're not here, humph. The line went dead. Julian dared not delay. He snatched his jacket and snarled over his shoulder, you'd better pray Serena forgives me, or you'll regret it. He sped out of the hotel and floored the accelerator to the Sterling estate, covering the normal hour's drive in 30 minutes. The front door had barely opened when a fistful of papers smacked him in the face. His father stood livid. Look at the disgrace you brought on us. Out of all the Sterling men, you can't keep your zipper shut? Julian stooped and read, shock. Sterling heir Julian caught cheating with lover. Musician Julian's private photos leaked. Perfect husband facade shattered. How will the Sterlings clean this up? His father's hands trembled. A Sterling who thinks with his crotch, disgusting. Dad, crack. Don't dad me, I can't stomach it. So dashing, so romantic, he Cameron Ed. I told you, cut it off clean. Instead you're just like your mother. Is Brielle really worth it? Julian's mother bristled. Watch your tongue. And it's not all bad, I never liked that Serena, barren as a brick. Brielle will do nicely. Sterling clutched his chest, gasping. Heaven help us, what sin have I committed? Julian steadied his father and pleaded, Mom, please, stop making things worse. Seated on the sofa, Sterling demanded, what do you actually want? To build a life with Brielle? Julian answered without hesitation. Never. She and I are impossible, Sterling sneered. Yet you still landed in her bed. Julian, your recklessness knows no bounds. He had always believed his son was the family's pride, talented, principled, exemplary. Now gossip blazed across the internet, even raunchy photos. Misery in my old age, misery, but... Julian opened his mouth, found no excuse, yet stayed adamant. Brielle is out of the question. My wife can only be Serena, Sterling brooded, then barked, then go win her back. Post a clarification video, say it was all a misunderstanding. Get little Vance to cooperate. Mind you, spin this as an error, or if your grandfather hears and the stock tanks, you're finished, I won't lift a finger. Julian's mother frowned. Old Sterling, what are you saying? Shut it, you stirred half this mess. He rounded on the stunned Julian. Move. I've asked your uncle to suppress the buzz, but you'd better be fast, hurry. Yes, right away. Julian bobbed his head, sprinted to his car, and raced back to his own villa, gunning the engine while barking orders into his phone. Miss Secretary, pull my wife's itinerary, check every recent call or visitor, and freeze her credit cards. He refused to believe it. A woman who had been a housewife for years couldn't plan something this slick, just pack up and vanish? She adored him, she'd never leave over a trifle. Besides, he had bankrolled her, how could she afford to run? Probably hiding at some girlfriend's in town. That thought steadied him a little. Yes, sir. He hung up, shoved open the front door, and froze. The anniversary gift sat untouched where he had left it. A bad omen punched his gut. Where's my wife? The housekeeper looked baffled. She said she was spending the anniversary with you, sir. What's wrong? His frown deepened. When did she leave? Last night, after you gave the gift. She went out. Panic flared. He bolted upstairs and flung open the bedroom door. Empty. Every trace of Serena, her clothes, her perfume, gone. Then he remembered the lawyer's words that morning. Casey has already signed the divorce papers. The court summons on property division will follow. Suddenly all strength drained from his legs and he collapsed on the carpet. Divorce. She was serious. She knew everything. And this time she was truly angry. Meanwhile, Serena had been in Dolly for a week. It was the best 7 days she could remember. Landscapes she once overlooked now flooded her vision. She felt freer every hour, her convictions hardening. Life should be exactly this, boundless. Beauty, could you hand me that net? Lost in the sunset, she started at the young voice. A guy tightening his fishing line stood knee-deep in the lake. Oh, sure. She hurried over and passed him the landing net. Since you're so kind, pretty big, could you hold it while I scoop? Please, like this? Perfect. With a flick, a half-meter trout sailed through the air and slapped into the net she held. Thanks a million. She shook her head. No problem. You're hurt. She eyed the blood where the line had sliced his finger. He waved it off. Nothing serious, hook wounds come with the hobby. First time today, but the guys warned me. Anyway, Taylor a lot. When he looked up, he froze, spellbound. Realizing he was gaping, he coughed and glanced away. You've got a camera, mind taking a picture of me and the fish? I'll pay. She hid a smile at his sudden shyness. Bandage that finger first. He fumbled out gauze and began wrapping. You sure you can manage? She watched the bulging knot he was creating. It's fine, I've got this, Leo insisted. Minutes later she couldn't bear it and stepped in. What's your name? You barely look 20, why aren't you in school? The moment the words left her she regretted the prying, but he answered readily. Leo, 25, college grad, financially free, roaming for fun. And you? Serena, older than you, just traveling. There, all bandaged. Hold the fish, I'll shoot. A few minutes later she handed him the photo. The composition and light made his eyes widen. You've studied this. Beautiful shot, the light is contest level. She lifted a brow. You know photography? That's my major. Freelance means I'm a content creator, shooting, painting, animation, a bit of everything. Hearing painting, she brightened. Could you critique something for me? Am I bothering you? Forget it if. He shrugged. I'm done for the day, big catch, happy mood. Show me. She produced a photo she had printed. Feels like something's missing. Leo studied it. Color harmony, and the proportions are off. You should. They lost themselves in talk until dusk folded over the lake. Noticing the sky, Leo suggested, getting dark, let's swap contacts and continue online. I'll drive you back. Thanks. The honor is mine, escorting a beautiful lady home. They packed the tackle, and Leo's SUV carried them toward town, conversation flowing as if they were old friends reunited. While Serena tasted peace, Julian, unable to discover her whereabouts, was coming unglued. Boss, we still can't find ma'am. Looks like someone erased her trail. Also, the studio received a court summons about the divorce property split. Her lawyer's here, you'd better come. Lawyer, yes. That lawyer had to know where Serena was hiding. He roared off to the studio and barged through the doors, scanning everywhere. No Serena. Disappointment curdled into venom as he glared at the calm man before him. Where is my wife? Tell me. Zachary adjusted his cuffs. You mean ex-wife? Ex-wife? Julian sneered. We never signed anything, she is still my wife. Zachary held out the agreement. Julian took it with a careless smirk. She can sign till the ink rots. Without my signature it's toilet paper. Look closer, your autograph is right there. The flourish of his own name hit him like ice water. That was 3 years ago, how can it count? Panic detonated inside him. He had never dreamed the casual scrawl he dashed off in indifference would one day sever the last thread between them. He shook his head violently and grabbed Zachary's shoulders. Where is she? This is a misunderstanding, I have to explain. He could not bear picturing Serena's face when she saw that signature. All the pain she must have felt. Why now, when he finally understood his own heart? His phone rang again. Calm down, answer first, Zachary advised, prying Julian's hands away. Caller ID, Brielle. Julian swiped the screen, irritable. What do you want, Julian? Shut the internet up, they're crucifying me. They believe that old rumor and they're doxing me. He tapped the link she sent, posts detailing Brielle's Dylan of Serena in high school, netizens rallying to Serena's defense, some threatening to expose Brielle's address. Clean up your own mess, you think you're spotless? You know why Serena ever loved you. If you want that heroic image to survive, help me, otherwise we burn together. Click, she hung up. Julian started to call back, but Zachary blocked him. Handle our business first, Sterling. A message from Sterling Sr. popped up, another warning. Pressure on 3 sides, he was drowning. He inhaled sharply and growled, fine, conference room. The negotiations dragged all afternoon. Julian refused every clause, grinding progress to dust. Finally Zachary sighed. Stubbornness won't change facts. The decree is signed, we're only dividing assets. Casey's terms are generous, fight in court and you'll walk away with nothing. Sign, and everyone moves on. Julian stayed fixated. Just tell me where she is. We can still talk. I'm bound by attorney-client privilege, Casey's location stays private. I'll pay, name a figure. Zachary ignored him, stacking folders. Julian lunged for the door and hurled over his shoulder. Think hiding her will stop me? I'll find her myself, watch me. A woman with no money, no family, how far could she run? Once he got her back, sweet words, grand gestures, everything would reset. She couldn't be that heartless, he would make her forgive him, he had to. Quinn, 1.5 months since Serena had vanished. She had drifted through cities, collecting stories and skies, watching grief shrink in the rearview mirror. The world she once ignored now felt wider than the horizon she had feared. She understood now, she herself had forged the cage she called love. Leaving the cage had seemed a death sentence, yet here she was, alive. She was trudging through fresh snow when a snowball thumped between her shoulders. Turning, she found Leo, flushed and grinning. She sighed in mock despair. Where do you get all that energy? Since their fishing day they had kept in touch. When a creep followed Serena to her guest house, Leo, towering at 6'1", chased him off. Discovering they both planned to travel, they simply teamed up. Now they were partners on the road, nothing official, just wanderers sharing maps. Leo jogged over, pressing a steaming cup of milk tea into her gloved hand. You're the one running low, big. You need cardio. I hiked a mountain 2 weeks ago, she retorted. Halfway up, who begged me to carry her? I jogged, past the night market, where you bought a mountain of street skewers, couldn't finish, and I had to. Serena lunged for his ribs. Brat, think I'm harmless? Laughing, he backpedaled, she gave chase. Her foot slipped on packed ice and she pitched forward. Reflexively he caught her, twisting so he took the impact. Thud, Leo lay spread-eagled in the snow. Pay up, big, you tackled me. Flushing, she tried to rise but found his arms locked. Then let me up. I saved your life, don't I deserve a tailor? If you hadn't beamed me with that snowball, I wouldn't have slipped. So you don't want to chase me? Fine, I'll chase you. The words hung in crystalline air. She met his eyes, clear amber glowing with quiet laughter, and her heart missed a beat. She wriggled free, brushing snow from her coat. Crazy kid, crazy about you, he shot back, reddening. Take your time, just don't shut the door. Call it a trial little, no pressure. Her cheeks burned scarlet. No, I'd hold you back. You don't know my baggage. I know enough. His gaze steadied. I know you've got a possessive ex-husband. I can wait, just don't refuse outright. Did you dig into my life? He panicked. No. Zachary, the lawyer handling your case, is friends with my big brother. I told him I liked you and asked how to, well, court you. That's all I know, promise. The more he babbled, the redder he turned. His flustered honesty melted her irritation. She burst out laughing. Leo squirmed. Stop laughing, I've never dated anyone. I was only asking for tips. Arms folded, she teased, and how many romances has Zachary had? None. But he works fast, your divorce will be final soon. After that, could you at least look at me? She neither accepted nor rejected, she simply studied him until he fidgeted. At last she spoke. Give me the straw first. The lack of refusal lit his face. He fumbled the straw into her cup with shaking fingers. What the hell do you two think you're doing? Serena, remember who you are. The furious roar cracked across the park. Serena's brow snapped into a scowl. Deliberately she closed her hand over Leo's, guiding the straw home. A few yards away, Julian's eyes bulged in disbelief. He charged, tore her from Leo, ripped the cup from her grasp and hurled it to the snow. Have you lost your mind? Julian, you're insane. Serena stepped back, her stare glacial. If you need treatment, check into a hospital, don't bring your circus here. He froze, wounded. Do you know how hard I looked for you? How can you speak to me like that? Do you know how hard I fought to escape you? Go take care of Brielle, why stalk me? Pain flickered across his face. Why would I stay with her? It's all a misunderstanding, believe me. We were happy once, we can be again. Let's stop this ugliness. He moved closer, voice softening, trying to summon memories of better days between them. Think about it, those 3 years we lived together were so happy. You got to be a rich lady, play all day, never worry about a thing. Wasn't that life good? Serena almost laughed. Why would fake happiness outweigh betrayal? Julian, you must be insane. You tossed me in the middle of nowhere so you could sleep with Brielle. You didn't think about loving me then. Now that you've been exposed, you suddenly remember? You're disgusting. The loathing in her eyes was unmistakable, as if she were staring at trash. Julian had seen Serena look at others like this, but never at him. Now, facing that revulsion head-on, he actually flinched. He shook his head, sorrow filling his gaze. You're lying, right? You love me, you do. I saved you, remember? Give me one more chance, please. Serena, you can't be this cruel. He had never imagined he would lose the woman who once loved him to the bone. He had grown used to her playful innocence, used to the way she'd wrap her arms around his and coo. Long ago, he'd already become unable to live without her. He'd just realized it too late. Was that reason enough to sentence him to death? Julian refused to accept it. He seized her hand and stared hard. Look at me. I'm the man you loved for 3 years. How can you just stop loving me? Serena's brows locked together. She tried to wrench free, but the man was like a maniac, terrifyingly strong. Suddenly a strong tug yanked her into another pair of arms, pulling her away from Julian. She looked up, Leo stood in front of her, blocking most of Julian's view. He smiled thinly, voice cold. Young Master Sterling, shouldn't you be handling your own family's scandal? Chasing your ex-wife hardly seems appropriate, or could it be you've forsaken everything for love? How touching, unable to win Miss Shaw, so you grabbed a stand-in and ruined another girl. Now that you finally have Miss Shaw, she bores you, and you want Serena back? Your appetite's enormous. Julian glowered at the barrier in front of him. He stepped forward, bumping Leo with his shoulder, threat in his tone. This is between her and me. It has nothing to do with you, puppy. At your age you ought to be in class, not playing bodyguard. Get lost. Huh. Leo snorted, shoved him back. At my age I already know not to pull the despicable stunt you're pulling. And you dare lecture me about love? Julian staggered, then shoved Leo in return. I'm not wasting words on you. Move, I need to talk to Serena. Just as he braced for Leo's counter-push, the younger man pivoted, feigning hurt. Big, are you going to let your ex-husband bully me like this? Serena happily played along. She took Leo's hand. Ignore him. Some people just crave attention. Waste of breath. Let's go home. Home. The word stabbed Julian's chest until it burned. She said she was going home with this man. Serena. His eyes were bloodshot, voice cracking. We're still married. Who do you think you're going home with? This is adultery. I'll sue you. You'll walk away with nothing. Leo fired back, spare us, ex-hubby. You know damn well who's been cheating. You've been rolling in the sheets with your lifelong for weeks and now accuse Serena? Shameless, and stop smearing big. I'm only a suitor. She's nothing like you, so back off. Standing behind him, Serena realized the usually gentle, playful little had turned into a snarling young leopard, claws and fangs bared. Before she could savor the sight, the leopard spun again, whining theatrically, "Big, look how shameless ex-hubby is. You've suffered all these years, I can't bear it." The cloying act almost made Julian vomit. He jabbed a finger at Leo, incredulous. You replace me with this? Serena, he's 4 years younger. For 3 years I kept you in silk and pearls. Can this kid even look after you? Granted, most of that had been performance, but Julian believed he'd played it flawlessly, every outfit, every surprise handpicked. When Serena was ill he'd nursed her himself. Short of true love, he'd given her everything, and in the end his heart had tumbled in two. What could this puppy offer? On the topic of care, Serena conceded, Julian had pampered her, which was partly why she'd loved him for 3 years, but she had given those years in return. She sighed. But Julian, your care meant staying silent while your mother Cameron at me? Forcing me to swallow every injustice? Insisting I endure against my will? You were the one who didn't want a child, who secretly dosed me to end the pregnancy. Yet when your mother scolded me, you said nothing. Nothing. For the sake of family, for love, she had swallowed every snide remark from his friends, every cold glance at the Sterling estate. And for what? A performance. He had never loved her. Even worse, Julian, you never loved me, so why cling? You acted for 3 years, I loved for 3. But I refuse to live a lie or inside your friends' jokes. Am I wrong to stop enduring? By the end her voice cracked. She hadn't meant to argue, it was pointless. The more she spoke, the more idiotic she felt for being fooled so completely. Julian's face drained of color. His hands trembled. But I do love you. I was stupid before, I deserve to die, but I get it now. I love you, Serena, I can't lose you. One chance, just one. Facing shamelessness this pure, Serena felt only fatigue, too tired even to quarrel. She knew he still didn't grasp what he'd broken, he remained the center of his own universe. Her earlier sorrow ebbed, leaving only dry ground. She gave a soft, bitter laugh. Enough, Julian. We're on different paths. If you still feel anything, let's part here. The curtain falls, the stage is empty, Julian. He shook his head frantically. No, I'll change. I swear no one will ever mock you again. I'll be good to you, only you. We'll have a child, a happy life. He begged, once proud maestro reduced to abject pleading, but a dead heart does not revive. Serena refused outright. Stop. You're not a child, some things can't be undone. Go live with the lifelong you finally caught. I'm building my own life. She intertwined her fingers with Leo's, a brazen display. Don't harass me again. Don't force me to hate you. Without another glance she turned away, Leo in tow. Leo beamed at their joined hands, then mouthed silently, Taylor, she's mine now. Julian's heart went numb, yet this time he lacked the courage to tear them apart, he feared the loathing in her eyes. He could only watch them climb into the car and disappear. When the taillights vanished, strength left him. He sank to the ground, hugged his knees, and wept without a sound. Tears streamed until the winter wind burned his skin. A secretary crept from the shadows. Boss, let's get back to the hotel. Catch cold in this weather and how will you win your wife back? Plus, the lawsuit stalled. As long as you don't agree, she remains your wife. Julian collected himself. Right, as long as he refused, she was still his. She couldn't escape. He rose and followed the secretary to the hotel. Across town Leo had already ushered Serena into their short-term rental. Inside, he poured her a mug of hot water. "You okay?" She felt better than okay. Seeing Julian broken had been cathartic. She smiled. "I feel great. Sorry for using you as a shield, but it'll be over soon." Zachary says what happened was an accident. She held up her phone, leaked photos. Leo frowned when he recognized the police station snapshot from the other day. "The creep who harassed you sold them to Julian?" She nodded. "Likely. Otherwise Julian wouldn't have found us." Living with Julian had taught her plenty. Beneath the glamorous artist lay a man with zero clout in the Sterling dynasty. Stranger saw a refined prince, prey felt a rabid dog, buying photos, tracing addresses, surveillance, all routine. She laughed at herself. Back then his surveillance felt romantic. "I actually believed fate kept throwing us together." Now she saw the wolf beneath the wool. Leo exhaled. "Psycho, but I won't let him hurt you. I'll protect you." Serena chuckled. "Protect me?" "Sweetie, the Sterlings are huge, way beyond their artsy branch. We should leave, Zachary can finish this." She trusted the established firm she'd hired. Leo shrugged. "The Whitakers aren't small either. Not just kids like me." He didn't elaborate. "Believe in Zachary, he's got this. Right now, hot bath, good sleep. We'll be moving on soon anyway." Their travel plan rotated weekly. The clock had almost ticked over. She reasoned a modern society wouldn't let Julian turn outright criminal. "Thanks all the same, Taylor. Alone, I'd have bolted tonight." Leo waved it off. "Happy to help. Besides, psycho. Enough gloom. Go bathe, I'll order takeout." "What'd you feel like?" Original plan had been hot pot, but change had scuttled that. Safer to hide indoors than risk ex-hubby lurking outside. He muttered another string of insults at Julian while Serena laughed. "I'm off to shower." "No peeking." Leo flushed crimson. "Ahem. I'm a gentleman, of course I won't peek. This cottage only has one big bedroom, otherwise we wouldn't be rooming together." Leaning on the door, she teased, "Oh? Sharing a roof with me is torture? Want me to check into a hotel? You know what, I'll be in my room. Call when you're done." His neck flamed red, he practically goose-stepped away and barricaded himself inside. Serena giggled, kids scare so easily. All bluff, no nerve. Half an hour later, clean and changed, she heard a knock. Coming. Figuring it was food, she opened the door. A masked man seized her wrist and hauled her outside. "Who are you? Let go," she fought, clawing at the doorframe. "Leo." The man clapped a hand over her mouth and yanked. A wave of cold panic hit. She forced herself to stay calm. Fingers slipping, she sank her teeth into his palm. "Bitch." A slap sent her crashing to the floor. "Stay back. This is kidnapping, illegal," he sneered. "Sorry, girl. Someone paid for you. Come quietly." He lunged, reaching for her ankle. Crack! The man crumpled. Leo stood behind him, white-faced, panting, hands shaking. He pulled her into his arms. "It's okay, I'm here, you're safe." She trembled violently. "Call the police, now." At the station the would-be abuser, terrified, spilled everything. "A boss named Shaw gave me the address. Said grab her, let a few guys teach her a lesson. That's all I know, I'm just hired help." Serena's face darkened. "Brielle, couldn't those two stay out of her life?" She'd thought distance meant peace, but the woman refused to let go. She inhaled, dialed Julian. At that moment Julian lay in his hotel, leafing through Serena's forgotten diary. "Today I met my hero again, still gentle, still cute. Can you believe he's pursuing me? Am I even worthy? Tomorrow I marry him. I never dared dream of such a wedding. I'll cherish every second." The early pages brimmed with joy. He remembered how she'd sobbed with happiness at the ceremony. He'd chuckled at his own brilliant performance and pitied the silly girl lost in love. Then, he cheated. Why her? Julian, anyone but her. Taped underneath, a photo of him kissing Brielle. He couldn't imagine Serena's pain. A second photo slipped out, Brielle and him on stage, shot from backstage. So his wife had watched him propose to the woman who once tormented her? His mind blanked. He was finished. The phone rang, Serena's name lit the screen. Wife, you forgive. Leo barked from the other end. Julian, get to the precinct, see what your lifelong did. Move. Then Serena, eerily calm. Brielle hired men to assault me. Come explain, or the police will drag you in anyway. I'll come, but I'm innocent, I swear. Deadline. He sped to the station. The moment he stepped inside, Leo grabbed his collar. Show some backbone, keep your lover away from your ex-wife. Julian shoved him back. I don't even know what happened. An officer separated them. This is a precinct, not a boxing ring. Behave. Serena apologized, then turned to Julian. Your beloved Brielle paid to have me raped. Thoughts? I want nothing from either of you. I was blind to fall for your act. If I'm the stain between you two, fine, erase me. But why try to kill me? Big shot, you've money, clout, lawyers, I'm just an orphan. Push me further and I've nowhere left to go. You want me dead? Tears slid down her cheeks as she spoke, each word striking Julian like ice, wronged and pitifully fragile. At that moment, the female officer couldn't take it anymore. Casey, this is 21st century Riverdale, there are no young masters here. If he bullies you, we'll see that justice is done. Throwing your weight around just because you have connections? Do you think we're still living in feudal times? Is the Sterling family out of its collective mind? Julian's face went paper white. I don't even know what happened. And the Sterlings would never break the law. This has nothing to do with me, nothing to do with the family. I'll handle her right now, I swear. She won't bother you again. He dialed, ready to tear Brielle apart, but a male officer stepped in his way. Looking Julian square in the eye, he said, Sir, you need to come with us for questioning. We'll notify Ms. Shaw ourselves. Right this way, please. Stunned, Julian was escorted out. Only after a short briefing did he learn exactly what that damned woman had done. She'd dared the same old trick from high school days, this time aimed at Serena. Hiring kidnappers, could she be any more insane? Bang, his fist slammed the table. Julian's face burned crimson, equal parts rage and shame. How dare she? Did she still think she was a juvenile delinquent? Sir, calm down. Are you involved? Answer truthfully. I advise against useless resistance. This is felony assault. Lie, and the consequences are on you. Julian shook his head. I didn't know. I'm here to reconcile with my wife, with Serena. I'd never hurt her. With no direct evidence, police released him after routine questioning. When he stepped outside, the others were long gone. He felt hollowed out. In the car he called Brielle. Hello, husband, you. Don't call me that. Who's your husband? Have you lost your mind? How dare you drag Serena into this? Even if the cops can't touch you, I'll make you pay. On the other end, Brielle's syrupy voice went silent, then she murmured, wounded, I had no choice. I love you too much, you're mine alone, so. Julian gave a cold laugh. So you'd destroy Serena for it? You're vile. How dare you judge me? Her mask slipped, she shrieked, if you hadn't chased her, I wouldn't be fighting to the death. Know this, every step you take toward her brings her more misery. Julian, you don't want to be the source of her unhappiness, do you? She laughed suddenly. Actually, maybe you don't care. After all, the Dylan that hounded her in high school, that was because of you. She thinks you saved her back then. She has no idea it was your existence that plunged her into that abyss. Julian, if anyone deserves damnation more than me, it's you. Her loathing dripped through the line. Julian drew a shaky breath. If you hate me so much, let me go. Why keep us tangled? Let you go? Her voice razor sharp, almost hysterical. You think I don't want to? We're tied to the same stake now. Did you really believe I could find Serena's address on my own? When you lured me in, you didn't think it through. Now you dream of a clean break? I might agree, but would your family? Julian's heart skipped. What do you mean? Brielle said nothing more, only a cold laugh, then hung up. Staring at the dead screen, Julian felt dread bloom. If the Sterling patriarch stepped in, any last hope with Serena would be finished. Why? He'd only committed the mistake every man makes. Why did it feel like a death sentence? He'd fix it, wasn't that enough? Was he truly unforgivable? Irritation, fury, and buried terror tangled inside him. He craved a cigarette. Then another call lit the screen, his face blanched. Sweat slicked his palm as he accepted. Grandfather. Don't call me that, I should be calling you Grandpa. Have you gone insane? How does the Sterling name produce scum like you? Sterling roared like a lion. Two-timing, eating from both bowls? You think disclaiming the inheritance lets you disgrace us? Everything you own is Sterling money, and this is how you repay us? Even your father tried to bury the story. Had he rather we all go under? Look online, see what they're saying, and crawl home. Stop chasing that woman. She tried to build a life with you, you trampled it, and now you play the devoted fool. Pathetic. Julian scrolled, the headlines curdled his stomach. Dylan, sterling heir exposed as true mastermind. Why must an innocent girl suffer for their toxic romance? Bigamy? Vows to mistress while married, shameless. Every thread roasted him and Brielle. Seriously, rich people are this messy? We're in the digital age and a mistress still flaunts it? Bullies rot in hell, she finally escapes and you drag her back? Gross. Wait, isn't she the art plagiarism chick from that video? Ex-wife copied mistress? Something's fishy. Plot twist, mistress stole ex-wife's paintings and played victim. This Julian's a musician? Helps a plagiarist cover up? Total enabler. Yuck, dude sides with mistress over wife. Disgusting. Within 2 hours, thousands of hate posts piled up, his DMs exploded. Netizens demanded he and Brielle stay together forever, or they'd boycott every sterling brand. Company shares hemorrhaged tens of millions. Julian's panic peaked. A musician lives on reputation, now his was toxic waste. His career was ash. The phone flashed again, unknown number. He almost cursed, but a calm, measured voice cut in. Sterling, ready to concede? Refuse the settlement, and we'll drag you to court in this frenzy. You know what the Sterlings will do if that happens. There was a smile in Zachary's tone. But the ante's up, add 20% for my client's emotional distress. Julian lost his voice. You're insane. That would hand her 80% of everything. Impossible. Zachary chuckled. Be grateful, 20 stays in your pocket, and I'm not touching your sterling shares yet. Push further and we'll see who blinks. Hey, the line went dead. A ping, a breaking news push. Suspected, Julian enabled lover to hire thugs who sexually assault ex-wife. Julian stranded wife in rural suburb where she met drunk thugs. Coincidence or? The story rocketed to #1, comments boiled. Accident my foot, devil threw his wife out at night. Homicidal conspiracy with mistress, lock them up. At FBI, hello? Paid hitman here. Before Julian could process it, a text from his father arrived. Julian, we're finished. The Sterlings are cutting you loose. Across town, life was sweet. Serena and Leo raided a late-night takeout spot, carting food back to their Airbnb. Warm heater, hot dishes, she sighed. Today was chaos from start to finish. He piled veggies into her bowl. Long as you're safe, your ex-hubby's brains are toast. Zachary had filled him in, their legal onslaught never paused, yet Julian burned resources hunting Serena. Good thing the Sterlings never handed him the keys, can you imagine? She rolled her eyes. Don't joke, if they had, it'd be worse. His ego could never stoop to actual business. Still, props to Taylor. You mean you, she teased. Forget it, my fault. I should have stayed upstairs, I knew a psycho was after you. Stop blaming yourself, only Brielle's scum here. Serena had never pictured a kidnapping attempt at a cozy B&B. Should we keep traveling? She asked, hesitant. Leo studied her. Are you over the past? She said nothing. Are you happy? Silence. Found fresh inspiration? Still quiet. He served her another bite. Then we keep going. Can't quit eating for fear of choking. Those two are autumn locusts, one cold snap and they're done. Accident or not, Zachary has your back, and so do I. I just don't want to be a burden. He waved it away. I'm courting you, burdens are my job description. No trouble, no chance to make you swoon. Serena cocked her head, eyes fixed on him until he squirmed. Something on my face? She twirled his hand absently. Tell me, why do you like me? He eased, puzzled. Plenty of reasons. I'm curious, spill. She swung his palm, he turned crimson, pulling back. Well, you're talented, independent, decisive, your photos blow me away, and you're just gorgeous. Stop staring, his ears flamed. Fine, you're beautiful. Love at first sight. She smirked. So, pure lust? Yep, pure lust. Suddenly he looked up, dead serious. So, fair beauty, give this little a chance? Please, please, pretty big. Now Serena blushed. Eat. He crowed inwardly, turnabout is fair play. 3 days passed without a peep from Julian, she assumed he'd finally gained a conscience. On the eve of leaving town, Zachary rang. Julian signed. Funds hit your account. Drop by to countersign when convenient. I squeezed 80% out of him, the sterlings blocked me from taking the rest. The brat should have walked away naked. Serena's eyes lit. That's miles better than we hoped, thank you. Keep the surplus as bonus. Zachary laughed. No thanks. The kid would murder me. The optics stink. Truth is, the whites still trade with the sterlings, couldn't go nuclear. If Julian makes noise, I've got ammo left, he's disinherited now, harmless. Bad news, we couldn't jail Brielle, family pressure too thick. Good news, they paid 10 million hush money. Not real justice, but, Serena cut in. It is to me. Old wounds can't be stitched by verdicts, cash is the next best salve. She'd always known Brielle would weasel out. And I'm done dragging it up. Zachary exhaled. Enjoy the trip. You've got 50 good years ahead, Taylor. Our pleasure. But thanks Sam, well, you'll see. Serena eyed the man wrestling suitcases. Leo stiffened. Not me, I swear. Zachary shouted, own it, hero. Hurt Miss Vance and you hurt me, don't go shy now. Click, dial tone. Serena arched a brow. Confess. Laughter and tickle wars filled the room, but Leo never cracked. 6 months later, Serena lay on a Hawaiian beach, sun-drenched, admiring the abs beside her, until even perfection bores. Sam, scoot over? Yesterday I was sweetheart, today I'm Sam, am I trash now? Who ogles their own boyfriend's abs on a beach? You'd rather scope someone else's? He narrowed his eyes. Bet you're rating every big out here, puppy not enough? Want variety? She looked guilty. You've been legit 2 weeks, cool it. I'm official, jealousy is in the contract. Say it loud, what are you? Leo, now battle-hardened after 6 months, belted, a fair-skinned kept puppy bankrolled by Serena. She jolted up, clapping a hand over his mouth. Insane. He kissed her palm. This is sand, not a sweet, relax. She gave up and reached for her phone. A familiar name froze her thumb, Julian. On the crime page. After their divorce, the Sterlings axed him and forced him to wed Brielle, already pregnant by another man. She wanted money, groom was irrelevant. Julian, revolted, crawled into bottles. Brielle rekindled things with her ex-husband. Julian walked in on them in the marital bed. Drunk and broken, he knifed them both. Brielle died on the spot. The ex-husband slipped into a coma. Police arrested Julian at the scene. He received a death sentence, execution set for next March. Serena felt nothing but the chill of karma. Her phone vanished from her hand. Leo's injured pout hovered. Big, look at me instead. I was reading, Julian got death row. You still ex-hubby? I do not. He scooped her up, striding toward their hotel. Put me down, it's daytime. I'll erase him from your head. He muttered, I made him vanish physically, how's he still in your brain? She caught it. You did this? Doesn't matter, right now I need to. Say it and you're doomed. He grinned. Then I'll show, not tell. Back in their suite, they lost themselves until night folded over the ocean. Thanks for listening, rate the story 1 to 10 if you like. Hit like, share with friends, drop your thoughts below, and subscribe for more. See you next episode.
At the party, my fiancé's first was picked for truth or dare. His first looked at Julian with reddened eyes. If Ivy didn't exist, would we be together? Julian didn't hesitate for a second. Yes. The room froze, every head snapped toward me. They were waiting for me to flip the table. I didn't care at all. If anything, I helped them along. Since you can't get over her, why don't the two of you book a room tonight? Julian missed the sarcasm. In all the years we'd been together, he'd summoned and dismissed me at will. Whenever we fought, he'd go silent, and I'd crawl back again and again to apologize. Now there was an emotion in his eyes I couldn't read. If it's all the same to you, go home alone tonight. An awkward hush fell over the private lounge. One of Julian's buddies cleared his throat and declared I was the world's most perfect girlfriend. Would that be okay, Ivy? Serena's cheeks were flushed, her voice syrupy. I had no idea why she insisted on that coy act, but hypocrisy makes my skin crawl. Serena had flown back the night before our wedding. Hardly a coincidence. A mutual friend had WhatsApped me a screenshot of Julian's feed days earlier. The post was short. Honestly, not sure I even want to get married. I couldn't see it on his profile. His latest visible post read, "Getting married tomorrow, finally marrying the one I love." Looked like that one was set to Ivy only. Serena must have seen the hidden post too. Why else arrived the day before our license appointment? Before Julian and I dated, he and Serena had kept things deliciously ambiguous. Call it chemistry, or call Julian's loyal doormat. Either way, I'd simply been his upgraded backup plan. I drained my champagne and swept a cold glance over Julian and Serena. Have fun, I've got somewhere to be. Watching Julian's eyes linger on Serena turned my stomach. Julian, let's reschedule the license. Ivy, don't be dramatic, it was just a joke. My words had embarrassed him. He narrowed his eyes, irritated. He probably thought I was throwing a tantrum. If this were last year, maybe I would have. Tonight, their flirting deserved applause. For me, skipping the wedding felt like freedom. I ignored him, grabbed my purse, and walked out. I hailed a cab to what was supposed to be our new loft. Every stick of furniture had been chosen by me. I'd supervised the renovation down to the last detail, pouring my heart into building us a home. Now it was all for nothing. Near dawn, Julian came back reeking of booze and Serena's perfume. I hadn't slept. The smell made my stomach lurch. He grabbed clothes and a pillow and left. When the guest room door shut, I finally exhaled. Julian and I were in another cold shoulder. Except this time it was one way. In the past I couldn't stand the silence. I'd scramble to fix it. Now I couldn't be bothered. During the standoff I stayed in the guest room. After Julian carried me back to the main bed a few nights, I started locking the door. When he asked, I casually told him I just wanted decent sleep. I quit making his breakfast, stopped texting all day, and no longer rushed home to cook. Life without orbiting Julian gave me oceans of time. His stomach is delicate, so I'd mastered elaborate menus, yet he rarely ate at home. I'd set the table, get a last-second client dinner, text, and dump dishes into the trash bin. Lately he studies me, hesitating, probably wondering where the hot meals went. I can't be bothered. I wasted years on him. My friends insist a strategist like me rotting in a tiny firm is absurd. I used to laugh. My needs didn't matter, Julian did. Now it's my turn. I've started exploring fields I've never touched, just for fun. Work, study, and reading cram my calendar. Julian gets nothing. He still comes home on time, his version of an apology. I ignore him. After several snubs he's back to all-nighters. And I still don't care. A week later, after work, I spotted a Rolls-Royce idling near Meridian's side gate. A man in a gray coat stepped out. One look and I knew it was Leo. There were only 4 Rolls-Royces in the whole of Eastbrook, and every one of them belonged to the Lang family. It was easy to guess. Serena's chauffeur had driven him back. I was about to keep walking when Julian called after me. Ivy! Ivy! I wanted to pretend I couldn't hear, but a sugary voice rang out. Sis Ivy, fancy seeing you here. I had no choice but to turn around and force a greeting. I ran into Serena after work, so we shared the ride back. Odd, Julian was actually offering an explanation. Yeah, Ivy, please don't get the wrong idea. Serena flicked her hair aside, accidentally revealing a red mark on her neck. Cute. Julian caught the move too. His expression went stiff. I stepped up and tugged his collar open. Sure enough, lipstick, identical to Serena's shade. I raised an eyebrow. No misunderstanding. Looks like you two are getting along great. Congrats. I walked off without so much as a backward glance. But I never expected Julian to follow me all the way home. Ivy, aren't you being a bit extreme? Saying we're not getting married just like that? Have you really thought this through? The instant we stepped inside, he grabbed my wrist, glaring at me. I flung his hand off and rubbed my wrist, saying nothing. Still, he wouldn't let up. I was only joking that day. Serena and I are just friends, yet you told everyone we wouldn't register. You're being unreasonable. I gave a cold laugh. Wipe the lipstick off your collar first, then tell me you're just friends. I didn't wait to see his face darken. I headed straight for the bedroom and locked the door behind me. I might have clarity now, but the years I spent loving Julian were real. Both sets of parents had already met us. Calling off the wedding meant explaining to them. Another headache waiting. Yet I knew. Hesitate and you get hurt. Even if it hurts me, I have to break up with Julian. Ivy, I know you're upset. Let's both cool off. We've had years together. His voice sounded muffled through the door. If you want to run to Serena, be my guest. A hand-me-down man? No thanks. When I came out to brush my teeth at midnight, Julian was gone. No doubt Serena had summoned him with one phone call again. He stayed away the whole next week, and I enjoyed the peace. Surveying the mess at work, I decided it was time for something better. I opened my laptop, updated my resume, and blasted it across every job board. Just then a group chat pinged me with a video. In it, Julian and Serena were locked in a heated kiss while onlookers hooped and Serena's breathy moans filled the background. Our mutual friends rushed to defend me, branding the pair a jerk and witch duo. I saved the clip as evidence and texted, Ellis, lock it and throw away the key. Next morning, Julian appeared carrying a steamer basket of soup dumplings from the kitchen. Up already. Wash up and come have breakfast. I felt zero thrill or warmth. After I finished in the bathroom and sat at the table, he had already ladled out millet porridge. In 4 years together, he had never cooked me a single meal. Yet if Serena craved tea eggs at 3 a.m., he'd leap up, cook them, and drive them to her before dawn. Guilt flickered in his eyes. He was in that same group chat. There was no way he'd missed my message. I picked up a dumpling, thin wrapper, generous filling, not bad. Ivy, last night with Serena wasn't what you think. I kept eating, eyes on my bowl. Aren't you mad? He probed. I set my chopsticks down and met his gaze coolly. What did you expect, me storming over at midnight and throwing a hysterical tantrum in front of everyone? You think I've lost my mind? He'd killed my appetite. I stood to leave, but he caught my arm. Ivy, you've got it wrong. I shook him off, almost laughing. Wrong. Wrong about you two kissing so hard you were one step from tearing each other's clothes off. I tried to walk past. He blocked me and thrust his phone at my face, showing a Venmo transfer. No, it was just a game. We shared one candy. Whoever finished last got 20 grand. I stared at the glaring $20,000 and felt a surge of disgust. Wow, Julian. You'll deep kiss another woman for 2 grand. Next, will you sleep with Serena in public for 10? His face went white, shame flashing in his eyes. His lips parted, probably to apologize, but pride wouldn't let the great Julian swallow those words. I sidestepped him, grabbed my bag, and left for the office. This time Julian actually swallowed his pride and came begging for a truce. He sent me a restaurant reservation. I know you've always wanted to try this place. Tonight's table is booked. I'll leave the office on the dot and come straight there to be with you. I had zero intention of going and turned him down flat. But he wouldn't let it go, and after enough sweet talk I caved. After all, it was the restaurant I'd been drooling over for ages. I might as well make him pay through the nose. The second I stepped through the door, I realized what he was really up to. Serena's birthday party was being held there too. The moment I spotted the tall, good-looking guy beside her, Julian's little scheme clicked. I wasn't blind. In Serena's eyes, Julian was just a trophy she flashed to prove her own allure, basically her pet dog. Just like Julian could whistle and I'd come running, Serena could snap her fingers and Julian would crawl. One crook of Serena's finger, and he'd drop everything to rush to her side. Pity Serena never keeps only one handsome man around. Every one of her boyfriends has been taller and hotter than Julian. He's got no money, no fame, no face, no body. What could ever make Serena stop for him? So whenever Serena gets a new boyfriend, he swings back to me. He's Serena's doormat, and I'm his backup plan. He dragged me here only to make Serena jealous. Disgust churned in my stomach. I instinctively shrugged off the hand Julian had draped over my shoulder and was turning to leave when Serena called out. Ivy, you're here too. Let me introduce you. This is my boyfriend. Serena strolled over, her new man on her arm, and parked them right in front of Julian and me. Congratulations, Miss Lang. Enjoy your little harem. Looks like you're having the best of both worlds. The flicker of embarrassment on Serena's face vanished instantly. She pressed closer to the guy, gave me a coy glance, and said, Ivy, I'm so sorry. I drank too much last night, so please don't blame Julian, okay? I waved her off, caught Julian's hand, and deposited it in hers. No worries. Whatever Julian wants to do is his business. I've got no say. From now on, he can kiss whoever he wants, sleep with whoever he wants. Julian's hand snapped back as if he'd been shocked. He yanked it away from Serena, face white, voice shaking. Ivy, what do you mean? Wasn't I clear? I'm setting you free. Go chase your one true love. I spun to leave, and in that last second I caught the flicker of panic in his eyes. It was as if Julian had flipped a switch. He stopped running after Serena and started clocking out of the office on time every day. He also began bombarding me with life updates, where he ate, what he ordered, the latest office gossip. In the past I'd have been over the moon. Now it just grated on me. He'd send long paragraphs and photos. I'd answer with got it or hum, the most dismissive replies possible. There was a time when I loved sharing every tiny thing with him. The kitten I met at breakfast, the oddly shaped cloud at lunch, the sunset I saw after work. I loved him, so I wanted him to see every bit of beauty I found. But he always hated it, would frown and tell me I was annoying, that my flood of messages buried his client texts. Gradually, I lost the urge to share. Now he was the one oversharing, and I was the one nodding emptily. Even when I had dinner with co-workers, he phoned every hour. I hadn't told him when it would end, so he sat in his car for 2 solid hours waiting. Lately he clung to me like glue, driving half an hour out of his way every day to pick me up right as I left the office. It got suffocating, and I decided we needed to talk. The next time he showed up after work, I was in the back seat, eyes shut, resting. The car was eerily quiet. "Julian, once we're home I need to speak with you." His answer came out trembling, as if he were awaiting a death sentence. He set a fruit platter in front of me, eyes pleading. "My parents put down the down payment on this loft. I cover the mortgage every month, and the deed is in my name, so the place is mine." I slid a card across the table to him. The card he'd given me when we decided to get married. I was returning it. "You have 5 days to find a new place and move out. I haven't touched a dollar on this card. There's more than enough for a nice apartment in another building. Can I rent your guest room?" I hadn't expected him to be so shameless. I stared, irritation spiking. "No, this is my home, and I'm not taking on tenants. And I definitely don't want to watch you parade Serena in here and mess around on my bed." The moment I said Serena, his eyes filled with regret and pain. I don't care what you did or didn't do. You get 5 days. After that, if your stuff's still here, I'm having it hauled to the curb. Your call." The instant I shut the bedroom door, I caught the crimson rim of his eyes. Regret? Too late. Julian practically disappeared after that. I hoped he really was out looking for a place. He didn't come back, but my parents arrived in Eastbrook first. Dad had been complaining about stomach and back pain, so I brought them both in for complete checkups. It turned out Dad's condition wasn't serious, just gallstones, easily fixed with a minor laparoscopic surgery. Mom's health was even better. The day before Dad was discharged, Julian called. "Why didn't you tell me your parents were here?" I held the phone for several seconds before answering. "And tell you what, so you could hold them over me." All he could manage on the other end was an apology. "When Dad checks out tomorrow, don't show up. Unless you plan to tell them the wedding's off yourself." He hung up immediately. I exhaled, turned, and found Mom walking out of the ward. She asked if Julian and I had fought. Dad even shuffled out to hear the answer. So I told them everything. Julian, the first he can't forget, her sudden return. I left out the public kiss with Serena. They're too old for that shock. Dad said, "Don't you dare settle. If the wedding's a mistake, cancel it." Mom said, "Don't trap yourself. Life is bigger than any marriage." On the morning they were leaving, Julian blocked our path at the high-speed rail station, arms full of supplements. "Mr. and Mrs. Sterling, I'm sorry. I let other people come between us, but I can't live without Ivy. I want to marry her and build a life together." Dad stayed silent. Mom glanced at Julian, then at the bags in his hands, and refused to take them. "Julian, you and our Qian aren't meant to be. Let's call the wedding off. Your parents will hear it from us." Dad tugged her sleeve. "Hurry, we have to get through the gate." He'd once adored Julian, handsome, smooth, always knew how to flatter. Now he couldn't even stand to look at him. Julian stood stranded, eyes brimming with defeat and a trace of wounded grievance. What did that matter? We were finished either way. Outside the station he was still there, oblivious to the stares of passers-by. When he saw me, his eyes lit up. He reached out. "Ivy, let's go home." I kept my face cold, ignoring his hand, and walked on. "Found a place yet? Day 10, you moving today?" His feet rooted to the ground. I turned back. "Looks like no. I'll have your things tossed out this afternoon. Come collect them." He stood at the doorway, pale and shaky, watching his belongings sail out, then arc into the trash bin. Everything landed among rotting garbage. He didn't lift a finger, just stared up, eyes rimmed red. "Was it the night of the party?" I eyed him suspiciously. He gave a bitter smile. "That joke I made. You thought Serena and I were rekindling things." My mind drifted back. Had I really stopped loving him that night? No, earlier. Even before that photo on his feed. Each time he dumped me for her, something inside hollowed out, until nothing was left. Actually, loving you had felt exhausting for ages. We were never equal. I was just fooling myself. I know I messed up. I'll fix it, cut Serena off completely. Julian dropped to his knees, eyes bloodshot. "I'll learn to be a proper boyfriend. Cook for you, pick you up after work, celebrate every anniversary. I swear I'll love you right. Please don't leave me." Tears trembled on his lashes, his hands shook. "Julian, it's too late. My one-sided sprint has hit the finish line." Impatient, I turned to go. He caught my arm. "No, listen, I love you, Ivy, I really do." He was sobbing now. "Love? If trampling my feelings for your first is your idea of love," message received. No encore needed. I pulled free, towering over him. "You tossed me aside for Serena again and again, Kissed her in front of everyone, used me to make her jealous. Stop lying. She's always your number one. I'm not obligated to wait in reserve, and I'm sure as hell not your lifetime doormat. He staggered up, gripped my shoulders, eyes blazing. That's not true. The moment you looked past me, stopped smiling at me, I realized, you're the one I've always loved. The thought of a future without you tears me apart. I laughed at his grand declaration and shook him off. You don't love me. You just miss the maid who answered every beck and call. Get used to doing without your loyal doormat. I had never thought Julian could be this persistent. Every morning when I stepped outside, a bouquet of yellow roses, apology roses, was waiting by the door. I didn't have to ask who'd left them. I tossed them into the trash bin, yet the next day a fresh bunch always appeared. Finally, one morning, just as Julian bent to lay the flowers down, I yanked the door open. He froze, embarrassment flashing across his face. Serena, Ivy. I scooped up the bouquet, sniffed it casually, then shoved it back at his chest. Stop this. It's annoying. His eyes reddened instantly. I just want you to see how sorry I am. I see it. I don't forgive it. Are we done, or should I call the cops? The threat sent his hands waving. I'm going. After that, every dawn, I found steaming takeout breakfast dangling from the doorknob. I took one glance and recognized the cartons from the most famous soup dumpling joint in the West End. Julian must have driven halfway across town and queued for an hour. Once that might have melted me, now it felt like dead weight. I dragged Julian out of my block list, texted him to quit the breakfast deliveries because I wasn't touching them, and, Julian, don't let me see you again. You make me sick. Then I dropped him back into digital exile. For a long stretch afterward, Julian stayed out of sight, and I happily soaked up the peace. When friends heard I was single at last, they congratulated me for leaving romance brain behind, then immediately plotted to find me a new boyfriend. I told them I had zero bandwidth for love games. They insisted the fastest cure for heartbreak was a brand new romance. Unconvinced but outnumbered, I let myself be dragged to party after party to meet fresh faces. At one of those parties I met Leo, sunny, gorgeous, definitely promising. Right now he and I are floating in that delicious pre-confession haze. The next class reunion he begged to tag along until I surrendered and brought him. Surprise, neither Julian nor Serena showed. Gossip quickly filled me in. Serena was pregnant. The college senior boyfriend refused to claim the baby. Serena had planned to terminate, but her doctor warned one abortion could leave her infertile. So she hunted for a fallback and entered Julian. As her oldest, most faithful backup plan, she assumed he'd leap at the chance. Instead, he actually turned her down. Ivy, you should have seen Serena's face, green with rage. If she weren't pregnant, she'd have clawed him on the street. They're still arm wrestling over it. Rumor says the Lang family is dangling a big payoff. I sipped the orange juice Leo had poured me, smiled, said nothing. That guy never valued what he had. A gem like Ivy traded in for his buddy elbowed him. He raised his glass in apology. I waved it off. Exactly, Leo chimed in. Treasure it when you have it, regret it when it's gone. I, for one, should thank my predecessor. His tone was so tart I felt I'd swapped orange juice for iced green tea. On the ride home, Leo caught my hand before I could open the car door. Sis, sure you don't want to make this official? I studied that heart-stopping face, leaned in, brushed a kiss to the corner of his mouth. Deal, boyfriend. One breakup hasn't soured me on love. It's simply taught me to spot garbage and recognize something healthy. Like what Leo gives me. He puts me first, never chases other women while wooing me, never treats me like a spare tire. He feeds my emotional bank every day. Why shouldn't I jump headfirst into something that makes me happy? When Leo walked me to my door, we ran into Julian, slouched and haggard, shirt wrinkled, stubble dark, eyes bloodshot. I instinctively stepped back, bumping into Leo's chest. He steadied me, silent reassurance. Ivy, I finally caught you. Julian's voice cracked, eyes shining. But when he saw Leo's arm around my shoulders, the light in him died. Something you need. I stayed put. I miss you. I was wrong. Give me one more chance. Tears slid down his cheeks. Exhaustion and revulsion were all I felt. I lifted my hand, fingers laced with Leo's. See this? I have a boyfriend now, and he's everything you're not. He doesn't store another woman in his heart while dating me, and he sure doesn't treat me like a backup. Julian took a step. Leo blocked him. Sir, keep harassing my girlfriend, and you'll spend tonight in a police station cell. Julian read the finality on my face, turned and trudged away. Watching his defeated back, I finally exhaled. Up to the day Leo and I got married, I heard nothing more of Julian. During the reception, a mutual friend relayed the epilogue. In the end, Julian caved and took the Lang family deal. He says he and Serena are sentenced to each other for life, till death do them part, literally. I said nothing. It felt surreal. The man and his first locked-in lifelong battle. My friend clinked her champagne flute to mine. Whatever the past, here's to your happiness now. I gazed at Leo's profile and grinned so hard my cheeks hurt. Yes, I once picked the wrong path, but ahead of me stretches only the road worth traveling. Hand in hand with the one who truly deserves me. Thank you for listening. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate this story? If you liked the video, please like and share with friends. We look forward to your comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more heartfelt tales. See you next time.
Derek slid the divorce papers toward me while I was staring at the sycamore outside the window. The leaves had turned yellow. It was time for them to fall. Sign it. It's better for both of us. I drew my gaze back and let it rest on the agreement. It was neat, 3 pages. The heart of it boiled down to one line. Both parties agreed to divorce by mutual consent, property to be split evenly, all company equity goes to him, I take the cash buyout. How much cash? I asked. 50 million. Plus the house we're living in, that's a little over 50 million, enough for the rest of your life. I laughed. 50 million? What am I, a beggar? Last year our net profit alone hit 200 million. This company was built by Derek and me together. 8 years ago we started in a basement startup loft. Now we have more than 200 employees and 9-figure revenue. I handled business, he handled tech. Or rather, I used to handle business. Derek, I picked up the agreement. You're sure you want to split it this way? He frowned. Serena, we don't have feelings for each other anymore. This division is fair, you take the money, I keep running the company. After all, I'm the one who built it. I laughed in anger. You built it? He spread his hands. Who else? You've barely touched the business these last 2 years, you've been home with the kid. It was true, I hadn't been involved much. 3 years ago, the moment the company stabilized, Derek told me to spend more time with Olivia. I believed him and handed the reins over completely. Looking back, I was an idiot. Derek, I set the papers down. There's someone else, isn't there? His expression froze. Who told you that? Don't start imagining things. Do I need to be told? I smiled. This past half year you've pulled all-nighters at least 5 nights a week, lipstick smudges keep showing up on your shirt collar, and you've changed your phone password so many times you finally locked it with a biometric lock. Oh, and last week you went to Shanghai and checked into the Waldorf. I checked, there's no corporate rate on file. You paid with your personal card, $4,800 a night for the presidential suite. Who shared it with you? Tough guess. Derek's face drained of color. You investigated me? Was that necessary? I stood and walked to the window. Derek, we've been married 8 years. I know you too well. The instant you lie, I see through it. He stayed silent. After a long while he said, since you already know, just sign. Let's part on good terms. Part on good terms? I sucked in a breath. Derek, we founded this company together. 8 years ago, when we were hunched over instant noodles in that basement drafting proposals, why didn't you suggest parting on good terms then? That's ancient history. Impatience edged his voice. Today I run the company, I maintain the clients, I train the tech team. Aside from an occasional meeting these past few years, what have you done? I stared at him, feeling I was looking at a stranger. I once loved this man, loved him enough to live in that basement with him, to eat instant noodles for a month just to afford server racks, to pitch clients while 8 months pregnant, nearly giving birth in a client's conference room, to move his parents in with us, and endure his mother's constant nitpicking so he could focus on work. Now he says the company is his alone. Derek, I walked slowly back to the desk. Do you know who our biggest client is? What does that matter? Huafeng Group, of course. Last year I delivered their entire digital upgrade project. Contract value north of 70 million, 3 months of my own negotiations. So? I smiled. Did it slip your mind that Huafeng's chairman's surname is Vance? Yeah, so what? Same surname as you. Don't flatter yourself, Serena. Exactly. Vance. I enunciated every word. Maxwell is my uncle by blood. Derek's face went black. What? You're lying. If Maxwell were your uncle, how come I've never heard a word in 10 years of marriage? Because that was my ace in the hole. And an ace is never shown until the decisive moment. 8 years ago, when Derek and I first met, he just quit a small firm and wanted to launch a startup. So did I. We met at a startup convention. He had the tech, I had the business, perfect synergy. He said he could build the best enterprise management system. I said I could land the clients. We fell in love at first sight and got married. After the wedding we registered the company. Park Ching Tech, 1 character from each of our names. Startup capital, 500,000. I put in 300, he put in 2. Of my 300, 200 was a loan from my uncle. Derek never knew. I always told him it was savings from my years of work. For the first 6 months we had 0 clients. We printed stacks of business cards and handed them to anyone who'd take one. At night we dragged ourselves back to the basement and kept refining the product. I remember the worst stretch, half a month straight of instant noodles. One day Derek finally cracked and said he wanted meat. So we splurged, bought a pound of braised pork belly, stewed it, and devoured every morsel. At last we landed our first order. A small factory that needed an inventory system, contract value 80,000. Derek pulled 3 all-nighters and delivered the platform. On delivery day the client was thrilled and paid in full on the spot. That night we hit the late-night food truck strip, ordered the priciest dishes, and washed them down with craft beer. Derek, tipsy, hugged me and said, "Serena, we're going to make it big." Tears shimmering, I answered, "We will." Year 2, we moved out of the basement into an 800-square-foot downtown high-rise office. Staff grew from 2 to 5. I was pregnant. Morning sickness was brutal, but I still went in every day, meeting clients, drafting proposals, chasing invoices, whatever it took. 1 week before my due date I was still pitching. That client came through my uncle, a mid-sized trading house that wanted a finance platform, contract value 2 million. Derek pleaded, "You're about to give birth, skip this one." I refused. "No way, this client is crucial." I went. Negotiations went flawlessly, we signed on the spot. As I walked out, contractions started. Derek drove me to the hospital, sweating with panic. "I told you not to go. If something happens to you, how will I live with myself?" I fought through the pain and teased, 2 million, enough payroll for half a year. The day Olivia was born Derek stayed with me the whole night. At dawn he said he had to run, something at the office. I knew it was real. The server racks had crashed and he needed to fix them. Still, it stung a little. During confinement I called clients from home every day. The minute my month was up I marched back to the office. We hired a nanny for Olivia. Derek's mother arrived from out of state and hated the setup. What kind of mother lets strangers raise her child? I said nothing. Year 3, revenue cracked 20 million. We upgraded to a bigger suite and grew to 100 employees. Derek started hiring the engineering team, and I took charge of building the sales side. The company inched onto the right track. Our son was born. This time I stayed home for a full month. When I came back after 4 weeks, I discovered Derek had hired a female personal assistant. Her name was Stella, pretty, soft-spoken. "Alex, there's more going on every day. I need someone to handle the small stuff." I nodded and chose to trust him. Stella was capable. She mapped Derek's calendar down to the minute. Every major or minor meeting, she attended. Whenever Derek visited clients, she tagged along. One afternoon I walked into his office and saw Stella giving him a shoulder rub. Derek's eyes were shut, his face pure contentment. When she noticed me, Stella snatched her hands away, cheeks flaming. Derek opened his eyes, a little flustered. My neck's been killing me. Stella studied massage, so I let her help. I said nothing, swallowed my anger in front of them. That night at home I confronted him. Have you crossed any lines with Stella? He looked furious. What are you imagining? We're strictly boss and employee. Bosses and employees don't give shoulder rubs. The kid offered. I couldn't exactly shove her off. The kid? Fine. I didn't ask again, but I started watching. Stella's Instagram was a stream of suggestive captions. Learned so much today, all thanks to Boss Park's guidance, heart emoji. Pulling an all-nighter, but having my boss here makes it bearable. The photo, our office at midnight, 2 coffees on the desk. I waved the posts under Derek's nose. He was irritated. That's just her personality. She likes to share. Don't read into it. I still had no hard proof of cheating, but I could feel the trust between Derek and me, crumbling piece by piece. 2 months later, Derek suggested I stay home full-time with the baby. From now on you look after the kids, I'll run the company. I refused. We're only now hitting stride, I can't bail. But the children need a parent. One of us chasing dreams is enough. Do you want to miss their childhood? We fought, then each took a step back. I worked 2 days a week at the office, the rest at home. In truth, I never stopped working at home. Phone calls, emails, proposals. Every key client was still mine to keep alive. Year 6, Uncle's Macrowell Group decided to go digital, budget $70 million. Derek burned midnight oil for nights on end. We have to win this. Closing deals wasn't his strong suit. At the last minute he choked, and I stepped in. I negotiated with Uncle 3 times and finally inked the contract. $73 million. The biggest order since we'd started. Signing day Derek was ecstatic, treated the whole company to dinner. At the table he raised his glass to me. Serena, you're the hero of this company. I smiled. It's the fruit of everyone's hard work. He drank too much, slipped an arm around me, planted a soft kiss on my cheek. Honey, thank you. That was also the last time he ever called me honey. The Macrowell project spanned 2 years. In that stretch our headcount multiplied, we passed 500 employees. Derek grew busier. So did I, but in opposite directions. He obsessed over R&D and team leads. I obsessed over clients and new horizons. Year 7, revenue smashed past the $100 million mark. We upgraded to a downtown high-rise, 3 whole floors. Derek declared, now that we're legit, we need formal processes. He rolled out rule after rule. One of them, every client contract required his final sign-off. I frowned. Some of these accounts are relationships I've nurtured for years. Can we streamline? He refused point blank, no exceptions, process is process. From then on every deal I closed detoured across his desk. Sometimes he bounced it back, price too low, payment window too long. I'd have to renegotiate with the client. They'd grumble, Cameron, we've worked together forever, why the sudden red tape? All I could do was smile apologetically. New corporate policy, bear with us. Eventually Stella resigned. That quieted my fear he'd sleep with her. After Stella left, Derek hired another assistant. Name, Tiffany, 23, fresh diploma. Prettier than Stella. I said nothing this time, but Derek seemed determined to push me back into the house. With the company stable, you should spend more time with the kids. I objected, plenty of accounts still need hand-holding. The sales team can handle it, you need rest. We argued again. This round, he won. I dropped from twice a week to once a month meetings. Later, unless a VIP client insisted, I stopped showing up at all. I stayed home. Olivia hit elementary school, homework duty. Our son started kindergarten, classroom parent days. Derek's mother still lived with us, daily critiques of my cooking, my cleaning. I endured it. Year end. Derek nabbed Entrepreneur of the Year, graced a magazine cover. In the interview he told the camera, 8 years in, I'm most grateful to my team. No mention of me. The reporter pressed, what about your wife? Word is she's a co-founder. He waved it off. She's out of the business now, a stay-at-home mom. The day the issue hit stands, I bought a copy. Staring at cover shot Derek, I realized I no longer knew this man. Maxwell is your uncle? Derek's voice quavered. Why didn't you ever tell me? Was there a need? I laughed. The day I asked you to launch a startup 8 years ago, I said I had resources. Did you think those deals came from thin air? He went silent. Macrowell is only one, I continued. There's also Mingda, Huafeng, Ruixin, everyone either bankrolled by uncle or founded by his friends. Derek, did you honestly believe your code was unrivaled? Without those relationships, would we have survived the first 3 years? His face drained of color. So? You're threatening me now? Not a threat. I tore the divorce agreement in half. A notification. What do you mean? I said, spacing each word, we can divorce, but the split won't look like this. Then how do you want it? Company valuation, $1 billion. I want half. You're insane. He jumped up. I built this place. What gives you the right to carve off half? Really? I stood as well. Then go ask Macrowell, ask every client who's stayed with us more than 5 years, whether they pledge loyalty to Derek or to Serena. He stared, eyes bloodshot. A long silence, then he rasped, Serena, don't corner me. You're the one backing me into a corner. Derek, 2 choices. 1, amicable divorce, company valued at $1 billion, I walk away with half. 2, we fight in court, and I persuade every client to pull their business. Let's see what your darling valuation looks like then. He laughed, cold and low. Serena, who do you think you are? You snap your fingers and clients jump? Let's test that theory. Derek slammed the door and left. I sat on the couch, staring out the window. It was dark. The nanny brought my son home. Mom. He threw himself into my arms. My teacher praised me today. I hugged him. That's my amazing boy. He turned and scanned the living room. Where's Dad? Dad's pulling an all-nighter. Again. He pouted. Dad's always pulling all-nighters. My chest tightened. Derek, after all these years, who have you ever been true to? I tightened my arms around him. It's okay, Mom's here with you, all right? All right. I ate with him, bathed him, read him a story, and tucked him in. After he fell asleep, I returned to the living room, opened my laptop. 300 plus unread emails waited in my inbox. Most were work. I clicked the newest one. Jordan, the project manager from Macrowell Group, wanted confirmation on the Phase 2 requirements. I replied, Jordan, Phase 2 is on hold. I'll explain at the meeting. Next was the general manager at Huafeng Manufacturing. Little Serena, your Uncle Riley is touring Europe next month. Can you send someone along? We'll cover the cost. I answered, Riley, I need to discuss this with Derek. We're in the middle of some restructuring, bear with me. I answered them one by one. An hour passed. Every critical client had a reply. Then I opened my phone's contacts. Found my uncle's number. Dialed. Hi, Uncle. Serena, still awake this late? I need to talk. What's wrong? Derek and I are getting divorced. A few seconds of silence. What happened? He cheated. He wants me to sign, take $50 million, and leave the company to him. Uncle exhaled. I told you, Derek's appetite is too big. You couldn't restrain him. I know. I paused. But that's not the point. I need your help. Tell me, whatever I can do, I won't let you be wronged. I want every partnership between Macrowell Group and Xinqing Tech frozen. Are you certain? The penalties will be hefty. I'll pay them. Another silence. Serena, think carefully. This could sink the firm. Let it sink. It isn't mine anymore anyway. What will you do afterward? I've got hands, feet, contacts, and grit. I won't starve. But Derek can't walk over me. Uncle chuckled. Now that's the Vance family blood. Legal will send notice tomorrow. Emery. Family doesn't stand on ceremony. After hanging up, I dialed more numbers. Clients and friends accumulated over the years. Every person answered, surprised. Every person promised help. When the last call ended, it was deep night. I was exhausted, but sleep wouldn't come. Early next morning my phone rang. Derek's voice was frantic. Serena, what did you do? I played innocent. Do about what? Macrowell just served notice, terminating all contracts. Mingda and Huafeng called, renewals on hold. Even Ruixin Tech wants to reevaluate suppliers. Oh, and? He was nearly shouting. Do you know what this means? Half our revenue is gone. I know. You did this, didn't you? Yes. So what if I did? The sound of objects hitting the floor burst through the speaker. Serena! Are you insane? You'll collapse the company. I already said, let it collapse. I stayed calm. Per the divorce draft, the company is yours, the loss is yours. Words failed him. Derek, I gave you 2 choices yesterday. Which did you pick? He raged, hurling things. Clatter filled the line. Finally he cooled. Serena, let's talk. 2 p.m., conference room. I hadn't set foot in the office for ages. A new receptionist didn't recognize me. Hi, do you have an appointment? May I have your name? Serena. She checked her screen and paled. See Cameron? I'm sorry, I didn't realize. No worries. I smiled. Dylan is waiting in the conference room. This way, please. I walked in. The floor was huge, over 100 desks. Most faces were strangers. A few veterans saw me, startled, then nodded. I nodded back. Outside the conference room I heard voices, Derek and a woman, unmistakably familiar. I pushed the door open. Derek sat at the head. Beside him, Tiffany, the 23-year-old assistant. They were shoulder to shoulder. When she saw me, Tiffany straightened instantly. Derek stayed composed. Here? Have a seat. I took the chair opposite. Tiffany rose. Dylan, I'll step out. Stay, take notes. She sat again and opened her laptop. I almost laughed at the scene. Derek, we're discussing divorce. We need a secretary? This is company business, records are required. Besides, Tiffany isn't an outsider. Oh. I raised an eyebrow. How is she an insider? Derek glanced at her. Tiffany lowered her head like a fragile daisy about to be trampled. I got it. So it's her. He didn't deny it. Serena, our issues have nothing to do with Tiffany. She's a good kid who treats me well. She treats you well. I echoed. And I don't anymore? That's not what I meant. He rushed to explain. Our problems aren't Tiffany's fault. Really? I looked at her. I'm just Dylan's assistant. Assistant. I laughed. Assisting you into bed? Tiffany burst into tears, shrinking behind Derek as though she might faint. Serena! Watch your mouth. How exactly am I offensive? I stared at him. You hand me a divorce paper, 50 million hush money, keep the company for yourself and your little aide, and you expect a thank you? I built this company, did you? I stood and walked to the whiteboard, marker in hand. 8 years ago we launched. First 3 years revenue under 10 million. Every client during those years, I brought them. You handled tech, but without clients, what's tech worth? Derek said nothing. Years 4 through 6, revenue climbed from 10 million to 50 million. Our biggest client, Macrowell Group, contract value $53 million. Who signed it? Me. Now revenue has surged to $200 million. I kept 70% of legacy clients and landed 30% of the new ones. And you? You tinkered with our D, hired engineers, drafted policies, sidelined me, and now you divorce me for $50 million while keeping the firm. I turned to face him. Derek, does that sound fair? He kept his head down, silent. Tiffany whispered, Cameron, Dylan is really killing himself. He works late every single night. Shut up. I didn't even glance at her. You don't get to speak here. Tiffany's eyes reddened. Derek gave a soft, pained cluck of the tongue and lifted his head. Serena, don't push it. I'm pushing it? Derek, when you were cheating, did you ever ask yourself if that was pushing it? When you slid the divorce papers across the table, did you wonder if that was pushing it? And now you say I'm the one pushing it? I tossed my pen onto the table. Enough chatter. I handed you 2 options yesterday. Have you picked one? Derek took a slow, deep breath. Serena, the company's valued at $1 billion. I'm willing to give you half, but I need time. How much time? 3 years. 3 years? I laughed in disgust. Derek, you think I'm stupid? In 3 years the company might not even exist. Then name your deadline. 3 months. Inside 3 months I want $200 million. The remaining $300 can be paid in installments, secured with collateral. Impossible, he snapped. $200 million in 90 days will snap our cash flow. That's your problem. Or you can take option 2. I walk every client we have to the door and we watch how long the lights stay on. Derek glared at me, eyes bloodshot. Serena, do you have to corner me like this? You're the one who backed me into a corner. Derek, you have 3 days to decide. After that, we meet in court. I picked up my bag and started for the door. At the threshold I turned back. Oh, Casey. Tiffany lifted her head. You'd better talk Dylan into option 1. Because if the company collapses, so does your job as his personal assistant. I smiled and walked out. For the next 3 days Derek didn't contact me. I didn't contact him either. I stayed home with my son. Mom, why haven't you gone to work lately? I'm taking a break. What about Dad? Dad's busy. Dad's always busy. Mom's here with you, that's what matters. I hugged him, heart aching. On the afternoon of the 3rd day Derek showed up, alone. His face was the color of old ash. Your terms, I accept. $200 million within 3 months. The remaining $300 paid over 2 years, secured by company stock. Fine. I nodded. But I want the first payment up front. How much? $50 million, I said. Within a week. He clenched his jaw. Deal. And, I held his gaze, you will apologize publicly. What? At the all-hands meeting you will admit the affair and own your mistake. And you will let Tiffany go. Derek's expression twisted. Serena, don't go too far. Too far? Derek, after what you did, shouldn't you apologize? Tiffany was the other woman, shouldn't she leave? She's just my personal assistant. I slapped the private investigator photos across Derek's face. In them he and Tiffany were wrapped around each other, walking into a hotel. Derek went silent again. Finally he said, I'll apologize in public, but Tiffany needs this job. That's her issue. Or you can write her a severance check so she can job hunt. Either way, she's gone. Derek stared at me, eyes a swirl of rage, resentment, and at last, fear. He was scared. He finally understood I wasn't the housewife he could bully anymore. All right, he said. I agree. 1 week later $50 million hit my account. Derek emailed the divorce agreement. My lawyer pronounced it clean. I signed. The next morning, the company held an all-hands meeting. I took a seat in the back row. Derek stood on stage, pale as chalk. "I've called everyone today to make an announcement." A hush fell. "First, Serena and I have divorced by mutual agreement." A ripple of whispers. "Second," Derek's voice shook, "during our marriage I cheated. I was wrong. I failed Serena, I failed my family, and I failed every one of you who trusted me." Gasps and murmurs swept the room. "Third, for personal reasons our personal assistant Tiffany leaves the company effective today." Tiffany sat in the front row, head down, shoulders trembling. Lastly, Derek looked straight at me. "I apologize to Serena. I'm sorry, I let you down." He bowed. I sat motionless, face blank. When the meeting ended, I walked out. Derek caught up. "Serena." I turned. "Are you happy now?" "Not happy, satisfied." He studied me, eyes unreadable. "Can we still be friends?" I laughed. "Derek, do you honestly think that's possible? Run the company. After all, you still owe me a lot of money." I walked away without looking back. After the divorce, I moved out of that house. With Derek's $50 million, I bought an estate. My son boarded at school, home only on weekends. Life suddenly grew quiet. I started job hunting. Offers poured in. After 8 years in the industry, my contacts and resources were gold. I declined them all. I wanted to launch a startup. When Uncle heard, he was all in. "How much do you need?" "I'll back you. I'm good, I have the money." With what was left, I incorporated a company. Called it Ching Tech. Same core business, enterprise management systems, but this time I focused only on what I do best: client relations and business development. Tech work went to an outsourced crew. In month 1, I signed 3 clients, all old customers happy to jump ship with me. By month 3, revenue topped 10 million. I texted Derek, "Second payment is due." He replied instantly, "Tomorrow." 6 months after the divorce, word came that Derek's company was wobbling. Key engineers had walked, clients were fleeing, revenue nosediving. After leaving, Tiffany found another assistant post, but quit within weeks. Rumors about her and Derek followed her. The new firm froze her out. On Chingteka's first anniversary, I threw an anniversary gala. Every client and friend was invited. Uncle came too. "Little Serena, not bad at all, better than your old uncle in his day." "You taught me well," I said. After the party, a strange text arrived. "Serena, it's Tiffany. Can we meet?" I thought a moment, then answered, "All right. We meet at a cafe." Tiffany looks haggard, a brittle shell of the girl who once sparkled in the break room. "Cameron," she whispers. "Sit." She obeys, orders a coffee. "What did you want to see me about?" She hesitates. "I want to apologize." "Apologize?" "Yeah." Her head droops. "I know I was wrong. I shouldn't have gotten between you and your marriage." I say nothing. "Dylan and I." "Derek, I mean, we're over. He gave me money and told me to leave. And then, I can't find a job." Her eyes redden. "This town is tiny, everyone knows what happened with Derek. No one will touch me." I study her. 23, painfully young, but her eyes carry a fatigue that has no right to belong to this age. "You want me to help you?" I ask. "Yeah." She nods. "Cameron, I know you're kind. Could you give me one chance?" "I'll do anything, fetch coffee, answer phones, whatever." I let the silence stretch. "Tiffany, do you know why I made Derek let you go?" "I know," she murmurs. "Because I did something wrong." "That's only part of it. I told him to fire you because you broke the rules." She lifts her head, confused. "There are rules for the workplace, and there are rules for marriage. You broke both. So you face the fallout." Tears slide down her cheeks. I know I was wrong, I really do. Knowing you're wrong is the first step to changing, but you don't get to change here. She freezes. You're still young, you still have options. This industry isn't going to take you back anytime soon. My advice, switch cities, switch careers, start fresh. But, no buts. That's your only move. She stares at me, tears falling steadily. After a long moment she rises to leave. At the door she turns back. Cameron, Derek, he actually regrets it. Does he? Yeah. He gets drunk a lot, says he's sorry to you. I smile, small and cold. So what? Her mouth opens, then closes on empty air. Go. Live well. She's gone. I sit alone and finish my coffee. Whether Derek regrets anything no longer matters. What matters is that I've walked out of the fire. 3 springs after the divorce, my company Serena moves into a new downtown high-rise. Beyond the floor-to-ceiling glass lies the whole glittering city. Sunlight pools across the potholes Olivia gave me. Green for new beginnings, she said. We're 300 people now, annual revenue past 800 million. When people in the valley say Serena, they don't mean someone's +1, they mean the founder who ships and delivers. Cameron, video call with Horizon Group at 3, my assistant murmurs. Got it. Head bowed over contracts, I feel my phone buzz. An unfamiliar number, lately they're headhunters, VCs, or Derek. I decline. 30 seconds later a text lands, it's Derek. Can we talk? I'm downstairs. I walk to the window and look down. The spring wind still carries a bite. At the outdoor tables of the corner cafe sits a man in a gray trench, back thin as paper. 3 years, and he's shrunk. I type back, no time. 10 minutes, I beg you. 5. Deal. I tell my assistant to push the first meeting, grab my blazer, and ride the elevator down. When Derek sees me his eyes flare, then dim just as fast. He stands, fidgeting with his collar. Sit. I take the chair first, glance at my watch. 4:50 left. He gives a rueful chuckle. Still straight to the point. Quinn, I know. He draws a slow breath. I came to see you. Seen me? I half rise. Wait, he blurts. Serena, I was wrong. I settle back and watch him. These 3 years I've regretted every single day. His voice is gravel. The company filed for bankruptcy last year. I sold everything to pay debts. Now I teach coding at a trade school. So I finally get how hard it was for you. His eyes glisten. Without the clients you brought, without your network, I was nothing. I thought tech was everything. I was an idiot. The server sets down coffee. I stir mine slowly. Derek, is that the whole speech? He falters. I want a fresh start. I laugh. With whom? With you. I know I don't deserve it, but I've changed. 3 years of straight introspection. I lost the best wife, the best partner. Stop. I lift a hand. 1, I'm not merchandise you put back on the shelf. 2, we're not partners, we're ex-partners, and that contract is shredded. Serena, give me one chance, please. Chance? I lay the spoon aside. Remember divorce day? I offered 2 plans and you grabbed the first because the second would have left you naked. He nods. But guess what, I was never going to pick option 2. He blinks, stunned. Killing every client and torching the company, what would that do for me? I wanted a fair split, not mutual ruin. You didn't know, because you never knew me. Color drains from his face. I stand. I came down not to absolve you or recycle you. I came to tell you one thing. I meet his eyes, every word a dart. I'm doing great. better without you. So don't come back. Your regret is yours alone. I hear the apology, I just don't accept it. Some wounds don't close on sorry. Some roads buckle the moment you take them, there's no reverse. He stays frozen, a statue in wrought iron sorrow. I turn away, the spring wind hits my cheeks, scented with blooming linden. At the lobby doors I glance over my shoulder. He still sits, head bowed, shoulders trembling, but my pulse is flatline. A leaf is a leaf, once green, now fallen. I don't mourn its wilt. My phone rings, Olivia. Mom, I ranked first in the monthly exam. You promised Disney. Deal, Morgan. Yes. You're the best. I smile, an honest, wide, unburdened smile. Inside the elevator, the mirrored wall shows a woman in a sharp bob, tailored suit, eyes like steel. That's me. Not someone's wife, not someone's sidekick, just me. The doors part, my assistant greets me, Cameron, horizons ready. I stride into the conference room, sunlight flooding the long table. A new day, wide open. Some people, some memories, can stay buried in yesterday. After all, it's spring, every flower that's meant to bloom will bloom. Thanks for listening. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate this story? If you liked it, hit like and share it with a friend. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories. See you next time.